Ćao. Evo, danes bomo gledali FNCS, polfinale, no, v bistvu že traja ta druga igra bo. Tako da bomo šli gledat zdaj, ne?
Everything else. That makes sense. This is one team I also wanted to point out as well that was right beside Scram and Ref's guard. Zaka, his teammate Zara as well. They had height for a little bit of a second. This is going to be fine, by the way. Don't even need to cast over this. Scram's not in any trouble whatsoever. Hold up. Is that two people in his box? No, we're chilling. See what I mean? Wings actually going down. This is actually something to talk about. I mean, when I asked you after the show yesterday, we were talking on the desk as well overall. We assumed that Wings of course would roll in, and they would be looking really good when it comes to, like, you know, expectations, them qualifying maybe and just leading the lobby at least if they're not getting wins. Second game so far, and Force is kind of by himself.
Did we though? Did we? Or did you? I don't know if I'm feeling
We did. This is a we operation, man. We sat there. We looked at the.
Ne vem, zakaj nam nagre chat, ker zdaj je vedno šel, ne. Zdaj pa nekaj naga dela, čeprav imam nastavljeno, da je chat. Tako zdaj bi mogli delati komentarje. Jap. Zdaj pa da vam malo pošeramo.
Have the allocated amount of hopes. High hopes for everyone, you know what I mean? But if I'm being honest right now, Syndrome, this is our first game. Just kind of
Da
waking
se me
up.
zdaj boljše kaj sliši, pač uživajmo pa to, ne.
But their game 2 is their one right now. Floki, Clement, not sure about their auto insurance, but it looks to be hopefully set up well. They do not have a whiplash to play the rest of this game. I think kind of close to where they're supposed to be. Overall, it's going to be a top right side zone, kind of common overall for a lot of teams to deal with. The issue, though, I feel like these guys save a lot of their mats by using vehicles. And over again, their car just seems to get shot down, and they have no mats. Bad surge. Nothing looks good for them.
I don't know if they'll be able to make a claim on insurance here. I think they're making some rough decisions in terms of how they use their vehicle and the areas where they take it. And like you said, this is now really huge for their strategy because ultimately they're not good on materials, right? They need to get their mats up and they rely on that vehicle, like you said, to allow them to save some. So again, another game where in the middle, it's not looking too good for Floki and Clement.
I feel like I'm watching them in endgame already, trying to clutch. Like playing the zone. Like
Pozdravljeni.
in terms of bats.
Pozdravljen, Boogie.
A refresh is needed. When it comes to this side of the zone, though, there is kind of a throne, which is the bugle. Kind of control it. You end up kind of, you know, allowing people to go back and forth through your own kingdom, and rightfully so, it's Aqua and Noah Riley who are dead center all the way towards the top.
The bugle looks so silly right there. It's just like,
Nee,
it's
nee,
like
nee,
five
dat
teams just
Fortnite
postured
daar is
around
helemaal fun, het is
the edge of it with Noah Riley in the middle. Like, that just looks incredibly silly. And I hope the zone pulls very far away so they all have to move at once and just fight. Yeah, that's my take. Thank you.
That's your take, okay?
Yeah.
I agree with the take.
Yeah, man. BZ.
What do you say
Well,
for these teams, right? Is this kind of just like, you know, rolling dice in your hand and seeing what comes out when there's 4 teams looking at each other, edge zone?
This is where it gets messy, right? Especially because you look at some of them teams. Those were the teams that were involved in the chance for them to stretch their legs and
No, grenade.
I'm sorry, I can't consider. Look at that.
Samo malo chat. Kje to gledam? Twitch.
Ready for vehicle tries to interfere.
Yeah,
Copy that.
and spike unit, I don't know.
This is their real first taste of some mid-game action in these lobbies. Almost as high as the great statue there.
Foundation. Seems to do below though, so maybe they need to start to go down towards the ground and reassess what they're doing. Because I understand Rangers here, they're going to be able to maybe take a few shots long range. But unfortunately, I think the only people, yeah, they're going to be moving around are in whiplashes, in sedans. There's not going to be a chance for Frey to really find a player from this angle. Too many trees, my man.
That's exactly what I was going to say, right? In terms of just in this area, the lines of sight are just horrid, right? So much trees, changes in elevation, little hills and ridges that people can sort of rotate through. It's really hard to get any sort of consistent tags in this area. It's different, right? If you're in the south of the map, where it's sort of the desert terrain, there's not as many trees and shrubs and things that can sort of get in the way. And so if you're sitting on one of them hills, you're a bit more prosperous. But in this area, it's a bit more difficult. And you can see this is the play that Frey and Kiddo are going to try and make to deal with their surge. And it's actually a successful one. They get one knock, but the job's not done. And Frey, he's on the aggressive, trying to close this one out as quickly as possible. And the player will get away, but still a good job. It puts him just above. And they've got a lot of loot to deal with, and the fight still isn't done.
Yeah, they need about 150 more damage to maybe even deal with the next surge. So definitely they're safe for now, but doom looms the distant future. Elvis Krusty, they were down by just 10 surge. That is quickly amplified to 75. Things almost getting 10 times worse. They are chasing down though. They have the right angle now inside all their opponents' builds. Mosh lets them through. Relvis goes down first. Is the trade there? No! They get absolutely sandwiched. I mean, they have no other decision. Mosh and Kiko though, blessed with 2 free heals.
Yeah, Kiko and Mosh, not a team I'd want to run into. Kiko, very proficient controller player. And so you probably don't want to be running into that box. Nova and Hardfine in a very tough position, stuck in between a rock and a hard place, quite literally. And even though I was just talking about how maybe you don't want to run in the controller's player box, it didn't work out for Hardfine. He goes down. And so Nova with 24 HP will do his best to stay in this one, but with just a couple wood builds left and 2 very, very agitated duos around him. Look at the duos he's stuck between. Kylie Spooky, Clement Floki. This is not where you want to be right now, my friend.
Very good loot for whoever does end up finding and taking him out. Legendary rank 7. You got the web shooters as well. They have the potential for another highlight play. We're seeing differences today for some teams. Castry, Vortexia. Once again, maybe it's just the fear, but this was the duo to be scared of. They were literally bullying POI after POI, rotation after rotation on the right side of your screen over and over again. Unfortunately today, down on Surge, not getting into as many fights. It might be a difference because, yeah, fights are risky, and that might have been why in qualify yesterday, maybe taking 1 too many, but you don't want to have the other extreme as well, right? Of just taking done completely. And Nova's waited out long enough to be in a position to be able to revive Hardfine in just a little bit of a second. We'll see if it works out. Aqua, meanwhile, he is soaring through the air. Noah Riley quietly coming in behind him. They'll just go straight towards the east. It looks like Levin. I mean, I've seen this endgame a few times before. In Cash Cups and EU, it tends to repeat itself once it starts. We're going towards the islands.
I still can't get over the form.
Nam to je statistiku, katerokoli od tih iger zmaga peti, se že avtomatsko vrsti v finale in ne raje več igrati dalje iger. Petih igre naprej zaradi zmage samo in potem se še pač 6 vrsti dalje od točk samo.
If anyone has a boat in their inventory, that might help as well. Just to throw down, maybe a patch went through, that's possible. Most likely not. So yeah, hold on to those web shooters. If you have pads that use them as well, everyone's really basing up and praying in this little complex of builds. As long as it doesn't go any further into the water. Lies in 56 below just has to hit the best shots possible. Look at this. Unfortunately traded back. It is a back and forth for a lot of these teams. If you're not doing it long range, you're taking risks inside boxes. And for Hardfine Nova, it was just very messy. They had a nice chance to stay ahead. Nova was the one that ultimately probably also got Hardfine back, but look at that, a third party in there. Floki with the sideways beam. I mean, it's just tough.
Yeah, that was real tough. You saw there, Hardfine actually did well in terms of his individual 1v1 fight. But the third party spray coming in, them MK7 rifles, and you have 2 people coordinating a spray, it can be very tricky to deal with. And so that was what made them meet their demise. But for Floki and Clement, that's really good. We talked about how
Floki
sitting at max materials, looking good on the loot. He's got some shields, the chug splashes, the minis. So things actually not looking too bad for them as they move on towards the latter stage of the game. And so maybe there is hope here for this duo, Shire.
I mean, might have to throw all the hope entirely out the window. You might need an extra player worth, or complete mats, or just a 7th inventory slot. I know there's 5, but 2 more to navigate this entire zone. It can go really anywhere, back towards these islands. They have to travel kind of overseas, back and forth in the endgame zones. It gets so tough. So every team's just basing up, trying to be as minimal as possible with their mats. Dropping down brick and metal right now might be a little bit smarter than wood because there are a lot of buildings you can just end up refarming. That's exactly what Clement and Floki might just do.
You can see they're 141 above, and they have 2 pads, so they're going to use one of them to get in. That was the biggest concern, right? They had to traverse through the water to get to the zone, and so they're not even going to bother, right? You can see this team that Scram's taking shots at. They are going to try use their materials to muscle their way on in.
There's no way.
Bro, some teams, I'm telling you, bro, what else can they do, right? If you ain't got any movement, though, bro, you got to just commit the mats.
Every team is looking towards that island, and these guys are trying to swim. They're swimming with sirens above them. Please shoot me, kind of, basically. There's no way that you can stealthily get across. This might be an instance where you might have a little bit of chances to move, you know.
Samo da se pač zaužívat to zajko, já mu konec se.
But this is tough. Frey also down too. Kidwell now by himself. Some teams definitely fragmented, but the game has slowed down enough to where we will see Surge in just a second. 6 people will have to go down.
Yeah, and it's looking real rough for Kidua, like a fish out of water. He's getting suffocated. He's trapped in between so many different teams here, and eventually he'll be squashed out the lobby.
Filleted.
So how you like your fish?
Personally, grilled.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I'm a
Filleted
grilled
not
man myself.
Nice, nice. Turn up the heat. That's exactly what's happening for these players. Both productive right now. Triple digits down below. 170 up to 130 as Cyrus does get one little bit of a trade. There's 200 in the other POV. Alumo, I mean, they were here a little bit yesterday as well. Huddy up top, always under control, having the best positioning, and he's gonna just clap back completely. Is this a 1v2? Cyrus now down to 1 HP, and Surge will take him out. Huddy survives. He lives on against 2 players desperate in his box.
Wow, talk about breaking the ice. He did a brilliant job there as a solo. He had the backing of Surge, don't get me wrong, but still to keep himself up in that position was never going to be easy. And this isn't easy either. Clement, Floki have some eyes on them, but doing a good job now, using that metal, deterring those teams from spraying any further. And once again, this is set good unless they get out of control here. They got a duo just spraying on their one wall. And Clement does well to get out of that position, but he's got to make sure he doesn't go too far, because he might run into another team that wants to get in, and all of a sudden Clement actually down to 0 HP from 200. Floki now with just 83 as well. How do things just turn around so quickly for these guys in such a negative way?
It's a robbery. It's complete hostile takeover. I mean, I feel like we watched Floki and Clement from level 1 henchmen turn into CEOs as they keep rolling in, and after that absolute bankruptcy, like it's just tough. It was one wall they left unedited, and Andy just comes flying by. This man doesn't care at all about your builds, and now suddenly Clement's gone.
Yeah, from boss to absolute bum. Floki down in the dirt. He's got a big job on his hands. It's not going to be easy. Look at Heidi and Strokey.
What are they doing?
Sitting on their own.
How are they alive? No one's even looking at them. They're focused on the zone. They're going back to land, and it's up a mountain. The absolute escalation, it looks kind of insane. But at the same time, Fast Strokey, Kylie, they have max distance. I understand no one cares about them for now, but how are they even allowed to swim that far?
Yeah, this is going to be real difficult. Scram and Rescard, though, I thought for a moment they were going to take a look at them, just try to see if they can get anything in, but they've got a tough rotation now as well. Are they looking for a pad to rotate? They are, and they will find one. And so first movement should be dealt with for them, but that's not it. They're 75 below. They want to win this game. Just doing well isn't enough for them.
Are sticking together, and that was one of the issues we saw yesterday in terms of the mistakes they were making. So right now it looks good. Meanwhile, Floki, kind of a solo. By himself down low, it's going to be tough for him to actually move forward with his game because he used so many mats to get to this position. The end game just started, and my man is out of gas. You can feel the pressure too. Unfortunately, some edits being missed left and right. Directionally, where do I go? Is it straight? Is it inside? I don't know. Pickle's the one who has high ground for the moment, but with Aqua and Noah Riley in this game, with the Spider-Man web shooters also available for both teammates who are sticking so well side by side. A little bit of a hesitation there from Noah Riley. It looks good.
Yeah, maybe the web shooters aren't all they're cracked out to be, because he did suffer a bit of damage there. But this is where the real suffering's happening. Floki, nothing he can do in the back of the zone, down on Surge, down on HP. He will be out, but it's not done, because we have a battle for height as the game really shapes up. Pickle and Melgard were on it, but they have been taken down. But they're not out of the fight. They're still staying on the high elevation. maybe at one point they will be able to take it out, but meh, Pickle, with such low HP and such little materials, chooses to go down.
3 duos, 6 players with an amalgamation of builds and layers. This is kind of insane right now, all the way on the high ground, and I don't think it's over yet. They have kind of distanced exactly how far they are from other teams, but as you can see down below, for Scepter, there's not going to be anyone at the moment that's just ready to give up, and unfortunately, a square edit might just cost him all his HP. Fire Hunter also down inside the box. This man looked confused. That was a horror movie, and it's Fastroki and Kylie straight out of hot water all the way up for high ground. Rescott and Scram are also waiting right down below, but the question is, who else is also fighting for height? I see Bevy's going down. Melgard is up against Fastroki, and Kylie is still alive. They're both trying to win their ones and control this height. It might be possible, and it looks like after just a small moment, they do have it confirmed.
How they ended up here? They were looking like they were in the worst position on the map, and now they're in the strongest. The theme we've seen with so many of these height teams, they lack materials, but these guys are full of resources, and they will look to close this one out. Refsguard and Scramdo actually compacted the duo together, and this is the chance they have to win it all.
The lobby has not given up, although Fastroki and Kylie, absolutely good retake overall all the way towards the top. Noah Riley and Aqua is still kind of alive. He has lost Aqua right now and taken a little bit of damage. There's a lot going on the low ground. Meanwhile, Kane and Cruel still there in mid ground, looking very, very good overall in their position. Andy also alive with Z-God. Restaurant and Scram are not done entirely, and Bubak is also alive with his teammate all the way down below. Noah Riley also taking first place on the lobby. He's just popping off with every single elimination possible. He's going from box to box and just spraying, praying, and getting every single Elam. That's Bubak going down. Another shot on the right. He takes a little bit of damage, but he backs up. He's taking his time and rehealing too. How does this man find the time in these little pockets to just breathe again?
No, Riley in his element right now. This is where he wants to be. This is where he feels electric, knocking socks off of feet, and he's going to look to try to do it again. He has the means to, but does he have the HP? It's dwindling low, and he's got to be careful as he drops down to the bottom. Oh my goodness, we're seeing Spider-Man players coming out again, as we see Fastroki being forced down off of height.
3-way fight for height. Kylie goes down to Pickle. Now it's all up to Fastroki. His duo 6 eliminations. It's Matt 0 though, and Fastroki is down. The duo chokes their high ground position. It's Kane and Cruel. The pattern repeats again. The duo's bullied an entire day before in the semifinals. Have something to say here. They want to get this win. They want to catch up to everyone else. And for Kane and Cruel, this will have a little bit of a journey. A few more duos in the way.
But their mats are in the red, Shayo. It's not going to be easy. There are still teams below who have the means to close it out. They have no means of staying in this game unless they can hit the shots and coordinate it well enough. So everything's still on the line, and Crew actually goes down in the feed, which means that it's actually Kane all on his own up there.
You say teams, I see solos down here splintered, fragmented, broken apart from their teammates. It's just Scram down below 6 different teams, though. This might be the first iteration of a heal off we possibly see too. Look at how far this bull goes up high. Bufik all the way down below. Andy by himself inside the mid ground, and Scram right below him. Bilad finally down. That's a high ground fight, I feel like. And Cyro's just insane getting that trade. Walks though, takes down Kane. So that's another one going on above Andy. The attic is just crazy right now. There's too much damage and footsteps running around. It's loud. Meanwhile, down low, Scram with the spray. He survives, but he's panicking. Breathe, my friend. So much above you. 2 different players. He sees one. The beam is there. Andy down to the crucial mats fall. This is the rain he's looking for. No umbrella, though. He's kind of running out of mats completely. Just 7 left for Scram. He's looking for it. Surprise! It's Wux! It's a win! It's a takeover! That's the 2nd victory royale.
What goes up must come down, and Wux came down like cats and dogs. He was not expecting it whatsoever. You saw the panic in his crosshair, and that will mean 2nd place for them. But Wux doing a brilliant job as a solo. It's still FNCS, but that game literally felt like a solo game, right? 5 solos at the end. He drops down and hits the quiche. Beautiful way to steal the win away from Scram and Refsguard. Wux and Milad, game 2 winners.
I think Waxamal had to understand, yeah, man, these low ground teams with these Spider-Man web shooters, they're doing some crazy things. So let's go to their lair, let's go to their house, and end things there first.
Yeah, they did a brilliant job to steal that away. We're seeing high ground teams winning it all out, and they were able to deliver. Desk, break it all down for us, because we didn't see them coming, and they were able to steal the win away.
You know, Levin, sometimes you just got to run it back textbook, right? There's a textbook win here, Sundown. This duo, well, Walks, excuse me, comes in and they say, look, okay, we're aware we just need the victory out. What is, in the grand scheme of Fortnite in general, what do we need to do to win a game? Claim high ground, Be patient. Make sure you're just pushing everyone down as soon as they're all
Nasledna igra se
fighting.
pa začne
That's
komaj
the
čez
moment to
4
shine.
minute
Again,
40.
Fox also says, hey, I know yesterday I watched Thomas H. do some crazy things. Let's just go for it, right? And again, Scram and Rest Guard, they get so close, even closer than the game before. But unfortunately, it wasn't their game. It goes the other way this time, Sundown.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not sure what textbook you're reading here, because we ended up going down to just a full solos here at the end. A 1v1v1v1. 5 solo players have an opportunity to clutch it up. Unfortunately, Refsguard falls just short of doing everything you need to do. We talk about how in these clutch moments, you can't make a single mistake. And while he was doing incredible during this run, making sure he's identifying targets, finishing off his eliminations, or excuse me, Scram was doing so, he was not able to cover himself up right at the coming through on the side, making sure he picks those up, getting the enough HP. He burned through a lot of his med miss early on. Here's the key elimination he ends up getting, but keep an eye on the materials in the bottom part. He ended up just running out. He had one more, picking up the elims there and covering himself, but at the end, with still 7 more mats left in his inventory, knowing high ground should have probably been out of mats, he doesn't cover his sides. And because of where he was on the grid space, he's so low, Walks drops down, and all he sees is a giant headshot target and a free ticket to the finals.
And for Walks, like, look, that's an easy win for that final shot, of course. The rest of the game, huge clutch up for both of them. That actually is now the first time they've made it to finals. So 2 of our teams in a row, first time making it to finals with a big victory royale. And it's quite interesting because they are, I don't want to classify them as Spider-Man players. I feel like that's not doing them justice. But over the first qualifier, they were fighting over that drop salt, which is just to the south of a lot of the action that we've already seen so far, which is what the Loot Lake volcano down there. So they've basically landed on those Spider-Mans, and they were fighting over all through the qualifiers. Now that has come to fruition. They've managed to actually do something with that, pick up the victory royale, and punch their ticket straight through the finals.
And it's a perfect time, right, just to make it on through. This is huge now. 2 duels, like you said, their first FNCS finals. That is absolutely incredible, and that's what Fortnite's all about. But my question about this duel, Reese, will be how can they hang moving into the finals? It's going to become that much more difficult, especially in the set lobby. We'll have to see. But once again, congratulations, Bin Laden and Walks. And I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but still, congratulations to you guys. You're going to the finals. Now, what I want to do is kind of take a moment here to take a look at our leaderboard. Remember, top 6 are the ones that move on after these 5 games. How is this kind of shaking out? We see Fast Roki, Kylie trying to make it in the top 6 Sundown. They're still being kind of kept out for now.
Yeah, so one of the big thing is keeping an eye on that top 6, and we're already seeing there's a little bit of a distinguishing line. 15 points between 6th and 7th, with Boofing and Bevies currently holding that last qualifying spot. But don't forget that some of those teams in the top 6 are more than capable of winning a match. We know Aqua can. We know that Scram and Refsguard just got incredibly close. But additionally, too, there's plenty of space for teams to make a move here, Reese.
It is. I'm actually going to say, you know, you're saying Refsguard and Scram can win a game. I'm going to bring up this stat yet again. 3rd time I'm going for it now. They've only won 1 single game in a set lobby ever while they've been playing together. And that was while they were playing with Stompy, who's a game winner himself. So, you know, that 2nd place there is the kind of games that I'm actually expecting from them further on throughout the rest of the tournament as we switch over to that 2nd page now, 11th down till 20th. A lot of the players who in that range easily can clutch up throughout the next couple of games, right? They're just so close at this minute. 1 good game, and that's going to fire them up into the qualification range of top 6.
Or, hey, put them straight through the finals, right? We'll see, Reese. We'll see. It is that time once again. We're jumping into the next game here from the FNCS. So let's kick it back on over to 11 and Shyway.
Thank you very much, guys. First 2 games were amazing, but it's a new test, right? Going into these last couple, Shayo, it's about whether you can be the same animal but a different beast.
Absolutely. You want to make sure, you know, you leave people with a question. What would I do if I didn't win? You know, for some of these teams coming up, I guess we'll never know, right? It's all about making sure you have that win. You know, consistency's there, but you want that guarantee before game 5 rolls through.
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult because we've already seen a lot of these teams really struggling when it comes down to it, right? The fact that last end game looked like a solo game where you have so many of these different duos just fractured in different ways and just trying to piece anything they can together to try get the victory royale. It shows, right, how hard it is for these duos in these final stages of the game.
Yeah, that was us actually whispering to the players, you know, so many people are always like, yo, we want this more trios, squads, this, that. We're like, make it solos, so, you know, the solo people get happy for just 1 end game. So we'll see what happens in this next one. I mean, we saw some craziness.
spre se igra.
Game 3, everything is coming up to a wrap very soon, right? You have a lot of duos still yet to qualify, but a lot of them really trying to make sure that this is their game. Everything that you've been working towards this season comes down to this. You can see in the bottom right, Till, Julian Com, one of the duos who hasn't actually been able to have much success yet, but one of the duos who just came in session 2, right? They didn't get a chance to play session 1. This is their opportunity, going up against Nipsey, up in Greasy, and a good start. Julian Com able to pick up the first, and so Nipsey now has a tough task in his hands. I've seen fights here play out very, very differently, but oh, Nipsey did well there, but Till has the HP advantage for now, has to reload his SMG.
Just go. Oh my goodness, it was still so close. 35 HP or 25 HP overall. That's just kind of insane.
They made that way harder than it needed to be. I just like I want everybody at home watching, right? You're watching, I'm thinking, wow, intense off-spawn battle, like Greasy, like no, like they should have made that way easier. But props to Nipsey, right? You know, at least making it a bit spicy. But yeah, hopefully now they can go on to have a decent game without any more hiccups like that one.
Let me give you this hypothetical here, 11, right?
Okay.
Say you are absolute GOAT of what you do, right? World renowned. And there's a award show coming up. Would you want to be there via red carpet, big limousines, or just rolling in, you know, kind of through the back door? What would you prefer?
See me, I like a show. You know, I like the attention, I like the lights.
Like you're the
So
best too. Like you are the best right now.
Yeah, and I want everyone to know, you know, so I'm rolling in red carpet. You know, I'm rolling in as well, like 10 man deep. You know, I gotta have my guys with me, you know, the entourage. Like I'm going all out.
Okay, so where I'm going with this is, you know, you're F-Guard Scram, you're Aqua O'Reilly, you're considered, you know, one of the greats. Are they gonna be fine with consistency? Do they accept the award, right? I'm not sure they can deny going to the finals, but you know, are they going to be comfortable? They're going to be in their elements, you know, at their speech in the finals, you know, when it's their moment, playing. If they don't get in right now, the big way.
I think in the case of Scram and F-Guard, they're going to have to settle with sneaking in through the back door, because you're right, they have the stature, the name value of one of those red carpet teams. But like Reese was saying in session 1, historically, this duo's never won games, right? They're not game winners. And so I would be surprised if all of a sudden, you know, game 3 of session 2 of the semifinals in 2022, they decide, hey, let's win a game. You know what I mean? So I think it is going to have to come down to consistency. In the case of Norani and Aqua, though, that's where you're really asking me a tough question. If they don't win a game, I cannot guarantee you they will be in the top 6 of consistency.
Looking pretty good right now overall. 4th place, 71 points. Or I guess 2nd officially, because our top 2 teams have rolled on and are inside those finals. That being said, the zone does play a lot. The factor about how Aqua and O'Reilly play, how Splash and Jamsit also get to play. When it's a central zone, a lot of teams get a little bit more freedom overall on how to move around the map. Some teams, though, aren't really allowed to play before that zone's even shown. Bubak getting through Elam's back and forth, but Splash Jam said they're just too good at picking players apart.
Yeah, Bubak doing what he does best there with a high-firing weapon. You can see the disappointment in his eyes. I love the player cams, bro. I love the player cams, but you can see the pain in his eyes there, the disappointment. Oh, gosh.
You know why I love them so much? I never see him coming, and that one was big. That's wide Bubak right there. You know what I mean? That was just in my face. Enjoy it so much, though. It's tough. It's still tough. Not to, like, you know, laugh at that misery, but a few more games coming in. Bubak always aggressive as well when it comes to fighting, so that might be kind of the key to their success. Maybe getting these fights in early. Karma staying alive. Went for those pinches.
Yeah, and I'll give them props, man. I would have been way less composed, man. They wouldn't be able to show my camera in that situation. I'm flinging keyboards, mice everywhere. That's me. So props to him for having the composure, the calmness. And you can't allow yourself to, right? You know, you still got a couple games left to play. You can't allow yourself to lose your head. Like I said at the start of the show, a lot of these players would have just been playing a solo cash cup. And if you've ever played a solo cash cup, you know it's very, very easy to lose your composure after playing that. So a lot of these guys would have had to reset and, you know, sort of keep themselves in a positive mental state, because, you know, these are huge games. You can't allow yourself to be triggered that makes, you know, calls for easy mistakes, easy
Absolutely.
oversights.
It's nice to have like a teammate beside you the whole time as well, right? So
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about. And if it is patterns that we're looking at in terms of how games are won today, you know, it's been from teams that haven't really been to finals at all. This is their first time rolling through. So we're watching Clement and Floki. We're talking about Nor Rally Aqua. Might have to start focusing on some of these teams that look good but haven't been to the finals before.
Exactly, right? You look at the teams who made it through yesterday, all of those teams were very, very experienced players who have played many finals, right? And so to see today, the teams who have the least experience being the ones to make it through, very, very different balance. And we're seeing that in the way the end games are reflected as well, right? Very different games, a bit scrappier, right? And so I don't expect much of that to change as we move forward. Kane and Cruel, who were looking so good last game, who just didn't quite manage to do it. Cruel went down and Kane was a solo, wasn't able to hold on. And you would have thought today would be easier for them at Covert without Thomas Tayson and Vino's duo there, but now a bunch of teams flocking their way in.
Yeah, and these Covert teams have been kind of the flavor of height. You talked about Kane and Cruel and how they kind of changed the game but couldn't hold on. Same thing for Pickle and Meld, right? These guys were the first ones to overtake Fast Rookie Kylie, have the difference made. I think it might have even been Pickle overall as a solo popping off towards that end game, starting the chain, starting the reaction. And now you see them all side by side. This is where the story starts. I do see a quiet voice here though inside this cavern, and Dreda, Flois, Levin, I'm on the map. Where are they? Well, what are these guys doing today? Because I don't see them. They're not here. They're not marked.
It's an example where, you know, you have two very big names in the region, but they just haven't been able to make things click. They haven't been able to make things work, and it's a shame because we saw them switch over to Cavern, right, at the end of yesterday when they realized that the big boys were well and away, but it still just hasn't been able to reap much benefit for them.
Yeah, when pressure matters most, I feel like that's where Flois starts to show up the most. You know, when it came to trios, I think it might have been season 7, season 6, Kaiser with Flois rocking in. They won one of the most important games to get them into at least qualification range, or overall to just boost them up the standings, right, and make them move over to the next stage. Maybe they're more so a game 5 team overall, but once again, stakes are very different here. We watch a normal Fortnite tournament. Everyone has different mentals overall, right? Yeah, we kind of want to win. We're playing kind of for consistency overall. Everyone here is trying to win the game.
And when you actually look at those two as players, right, they're two of the more measured and calm individuals. And in these games where things are so scrappy and chaotic, you know, you'd like to hope that they'd be able to be the calm in the storm and really sort of find some sort of a control in these environments. But you know, again, they're just another team that's really struggling with that in these lobbies.
I mean, you want some Shio statistics? Like, they're not true at all, but it's just what I feel. I feel like right now, we have the most capitalization on mistakes situations. So cams for short, okay? We have the most cam situations going on. And I'm making that claim based off of what I saw from Floki and Clement, right? Left the wall open for just to air out the window, right? Is someone was cooking some food, it was stanking up the box, and they just wanted a little bit of fresh air. Andy right there in a fraction of a second, right? Kane and Cruel have high ground. Fast Roki Kylie chilling. Fast Roki asks Kylie, yo, did you leave the stove on? Did we lock the car? Boom, Pickle's there. Fraction of a second. The cams are insane right now, Levin, right? In these situations, I mean, I have no stats to back this up. I'm just making claims once again. But it seems like the pressure's on, bro. And Dreda and Flois, maybe they're overthinking. Maybe too much is going on. They can't handle the cams.
I'll be real, bro. I don't blame them in that situation. If my mom turned around and said to me, did you leave the stove on? I'm shook, man. I'd lose all.
And then Pickle's right there next to your shoulder.
Yeah, you're right.
Boom, bop, you're done.
Yeah. Tough situation. Cams. How many cams per 90 do these guys average?
I honestly don't even remember the term I even made when it stands for. So it's gonna be tough answering that question as the inventor of the term.
Okay.
Not my brightest moment, so I'm just gonna say 4 or more than 4.
4.
Yeah.
They average 4 cams per 90. Nice. Wow. Floki and Clement, they have struggled to capitalize on mistakes.
Yeah.
Capitalize. Where's the A?
Where's the A?
Where is the A?
Dude, am I bad at math and English? That's crazy.
No. Look, it's all right. See how I'm keeping quiet every time you do math and English? I'm not gonna either. I just shut up, you know?
You're saying away so it doesn't leak into your system, man. It's smart. That's smart.
Wow.
It's troublesome, man. It's troublesome. Z got Andy. I think this is the first time we're actually seeing them kind of in the lead consistently as well. That's cool. Very proud. Unfortunately, every time we do see Zigot and Andy at a form of the lead, you know, if it's height, if it's good looks, greener pastures, I see him crashing down. Not trying to jinx anything or call for a certain pattern, but they need to defy, you know, what they're set up to be to move onwards in this competition and go for the finals.
Yeah, and you're not wrong about that, but it's not going to be easy. You can see the below on surge. But like you said, things just haven't quite worked out in terms of their ability to win the games. They're staying very consistent. They're getting deep in, right? But we talk about being able to identify your win condition. Once you get to 8th zone, you just got to start thinking, yo, how do we win this game, right? Yeah, we're sitting comfy on mid-ground, we're sitting comfy on the height, we're sitting comfy low, but what's the actual pathway to winning this game?
You want to know?
Go on, hit me.
You have to basically throw all your strats in a blender, blend it up, and then just go with what comes first. I feel like everyone that has a plan so far is just absolute shambles. You look at things yesterday, right, Levin? It's all FNCS crazy finalists who've been there before, the goated names, they're moving through. You look at today, before, it's brand new names. I feel like they're just adapting. They're just going crazy with it. They're rolling with the tide. Meanwhile, some of the old guard, they're not on surfboards, man, on this big wave. They're just trying to swim. They're trying to do things their own classic way. That's not the theme of day number 2.
You're right. You're spot on there. I think the big thing is though, right? A lot of these teams, as they're blending all these strats into one, you know, you got to leave some of the bits in there, right? You don't want it. You want to leave it a bit chunky, give yourself a bit more options. But some of these guys going a bit too ham on the blender. Do you know what I mean? It's all good and well having a smooth drink, but if you can't pick out what your strat is going to be from that point, things get rough. I'll tell you that much. Look, another game where these guys are below on surge mid-game, but not too far. They should be able to do enough damage, and I think the big positive for them is that they're looking good on materials in this one, and maybe this will be the chance they do get enough damage to get just above, but you got to be careful. We'll wait for that to update.
Some visceral imagery with the chunkiness.
One above. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Would you consider the chonker tires making a car more chunky?
Ooh, yeah.
Skittlösa.
I like a bit of chunky, you know. I think chunky
Skittlösa.
has negative connotations, but you know.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, you know, from a statistical standpoint.
Yeah. Nah. I feel
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough. This is kind of just gruesome for a lot of teams. Looking at the storm surge situations we talked about, Zigot and Andy. Every time in the lead, it just seems like a curse for them. No difference here right now. What a good attempt from Andy as well against Clement. That's crazy that they're in the situation, but now finally capitalizing. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to a different team beside them at a low cost. It feels like every time we watch Floki and Clement operate, they have like a V48 engine. The gasoline is just getting chugged the whole time. Mats are being siphoned away. Their shots are being siphoned away. And the fight lasts forever. I'm watching like an opera go down. I'm here to just watch a 1-hour action movie. You know what I mean? So like this time though, it was very fast, quick. You know, speedy YouTube video, the highlights of a movie, so to speak, or just one set piece. That was a nice timed fight.
Yeah, don't leave too soon though. You might miss the mid-credit scene because it's not done, right? They still got a bit more action in the tank. They've got to make their way towards the zone. And this is what's happening elsewhere in the map. 70 below, boofing, bevies. Oh gosh, this was rough. Just not much you can do there, right? We talk about this season's meta. You can see the SMG is so strong. And so when you've got two players who know how to coordinate their sprays and just get in on you, it can be so suffocating. And Bevies suffered that fate. So back to the drawing board, back to the lobby. Refscott and Scramdo still alive in this one, still trying to make up for last game's wrongs. Maybe this time if they're a duo, they will be able to win that low ground battle instead of falling second place.
You can see the difference in drive between both teams as well. Kylie and Fast Roki, a electing, you know, not to talk too much, be quiet, maybe a little bit more romantic as they go through these mountains. Meanwhile, Ref's guard, Scram, not sure what argument they're having inside that taxi, but it's loud. Ref's guard just shooting shots at the window in the bushes as well. Their vehicle takes like half its HP's worth of damage. I'm not sure if it's just like a flex thing, if they need to have the action as a part of them while they move, but man, these your cars, they're gonna suffer the fate.
It's a thing is that like they've been doing that all day.
Right?
Like, at what point does it end, boys? At what point does it end?
Oh man, no Riley Aqua, they are popping off right now, and even from yesterday. Top five, stay alive, but they want to win a game, right? Like, even with consistency, it's looking good so far. You saw yesterday, though, you want to hit kind of near triple digits to get that 120 mark. That's where you kind of lock in your entire tournament in terms of being in the top 6. They're almost past that halfway mark, basically, with 72. But winning would be huge. And that Rocky Reels, you can control height. You can have a little bit of strategy. You don't really have to worry about water whatsoever. So we are in the element, in the domain of Aqua and Noah Riley.
The big thing with Aqua and O'Reilly is the past 2 games, they've gone down in 9th place, right? 23 minutes and 14 seconds in, 23 minutes and 9 seconds in, right? So they're basically going down at the exact same points in both games. And the big thing is about whether there's some iteration now, whether there's a readjustment in their strategy, because, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times. Forget the peace signs. And then Floki gonna need to try and make things better for themselves as well. We talked about how they're one of the red carpet duos sitting in 8th, and that might be okay, right? In terms of going for consistency, trying to, you know, toe the line a bit. I want something a bit more glamorous for them because they keep getting deep into these games, Shayo, and their kit looks good. Look, he's got a Spider-Man web shooter. Ooh, what's this rotate? Oh, I don't mind that. I like that. That's all right.
It's fast, but once again, that's like Clement making a split decision reaction. We saw Floki editing a box while Clement was looking at something else. But what I'm seeing here is a bunch of different pages, and right now it's not time to read a book. You want to be on just one newsletter, one flyer together. You want to be on the same page. And it feels like Clement and Floki game after game get spread apart a bit more. That was the story of Resguard and Scram yesterday as well. Sometimes Scram moving too fast, sometimes Resguard following up too slow. This time, it will be Resguard all the way up to the front by himself, but once again, Scram wasn't there. I feel like taking these risks, although you need to for the surge, it's the reason these teams are so kind of different in the way they end up moving as teammates, and then just, you know, end up getting split apart halfway.
This is where things get really interesting. Where's that zone gonna pop? Who's gonna get it? It goes towards the southeast. And so, a tough time for about half the lobby. You can see not many teams in the lobby are sitting in zone. A lot of them here with Resguard and Scram somewhere near it, but they've got a lot of teams in between them. And so they're gonna have to elevate to get out of here realistically. But you can see they've got their eyes set on trying to pick off some of these teams. It's a real tough battle down below. And they have some edits, they have some control. I think here realizing, okay, we did what we could. Maybe it's time to get into the zone now.
Gonna be tough, so many teams on all sides. Only 2 that really own it, but they might be just overwhelmed with the amount of players coming in. Scram Resguard kind of looks like deja vu from the last game. Chili Chugs pop, but I don't think they're gonna be able to find a pad at this moment. Just have to run in, use a lot of materials as they do so. Floki, Clement, kind of the same situation, but they're already inside the zone. Aqua and Noah Rowley on the right side have, I feel like, started in it overall and just made a new entire base. Just staying very chill on the web shooters as well. Meld not making it towards this cut. There is no Storm Surge up right now, but the next one will start to churn, and a lot of players will have to fall before that 7th zone locks in.
Yeah, they got to start thinking about what their options are. If you're Scram and Resguard, right? You've not got the best of mobility in terms of not many Spider-Man web charges left. I think what they have is going to basically be committed completely to first moving, which means from there on out, you're going to have to use your materials, and they've not got an abundance, so they need to start thinking about setting up for a refresh at some point. And so we'll see how they do so. You can see now most of the players situated within the zone. And it's going to be about making that journey into the 6th zone. How do you get there? How much do you have to spend to get there? If you're Floki and Clement, you actually have a decent amount to spend. You can see Floki 7 charges should be enough to get him all the way to the east. A lot of teams in between, but with this high elevation that they're on, they'll be able to see everything in their way.
It's time to swing. Huddy all the way at the top on a max zone rotation. Meanwhile, everyone down below starts to set the rep shooter completely on fly. He'll just use a launch pad though. Swifty not beside him. It'll be a solo effort while he's below on Surge as well. New base is starting to be formed inside that desert though, up on top of the mountains, down below in the sand. Huddy will choose one of the higher points of elevation. Meanwhile, the rest of the lobby will try to fight to see who can have the high ground. Not everyone's moved yet. Floki Clement waiting until the last possible moment. You talked about the swing 11, and here we go. Untouched, unfaltered. And at the front side of the zone, a little bit of a bump, but it's all good. Floki is back in, and they touch down at an oasis. A little bit of water, but the question is this paradise or a lockbox? Will they find enough damage to stay above, or are they in trouble?
Whether or not it's paradise or not will be completely determined on what they can find down below. You know they need to find a refresh at some point. They're going to need the materials. As you can see, it's dwindling for
What's
them.
What's Hydro doing?
Baluti and Hydro, they're taking a bit too long. I know you like to stagger your rotations, but 29 HP, you're stretching it a little bit here, son. It's going to be okay. They're trying to go up for height, but again, we always have the discussion, is it too early? Do they have the resources to hold on for this much longer? There's going to be teams who look to try to take it at some point, so they've got to fortify it at some point very, very soon.
You asked that question, just wood left at the front side. I see Dan and Naku, they're going up. Till from the backside with Julian Com. He has high ground now too.
Scram doing a brilliant job there, gets an elimination, but in the backside of the zone, things get messy. He needs Refsguard to help him, but Refsguard is knocked, and so all alone, 50 HP left. It's a no-brainer. He has to just keep on going through, but at what point does he walk into the brick wall that is the rest of the lobby? It looks like he's met his maker. Time is running out for him, but he's just got to stay alive, gain as many points as he can, help his team out on the consistency side.
The low ground labyrinth continues to grow. Meanwhile, on heights, the fight is not over yet. Aqua swinging left and right. He's looking good up top. Yes, Noah Riley still has control, so they are looking to sign their way all the way towards the finals. I talked about this zone. It's just looking perfect to be able to control. And it is going towards elevation 2. Where does it bounce next? Does it force people up? It just might. It's looking like it. 5 seconds till it locks in. Some of these low ground teams are in trouble. Clement and Floki are there just right at the edge, forcing down shots on a Balusi. How is this man alive? Does he have an extra HP bar to work with? They find the coolest crevice as well to walk right through. No issues whatsoever on the top right POV. Meanwhile, though, Aqua, Noah Riley, they're up top, forcing everyone not to be able to move. Floki and Clement find that little sandwich position, and Kepi's right above them. Kylie's also moving. Where's Fast Roki? I don't see him at all. Naku all the way at the front. He was near height, but now all the way down on low, facing up against another duo. Fast Roki finally finds Kylie as well. This is getting insane on all angles, and no one's going down.
No, Riley and Naku, it's so easy for them. They've been talking the talk, and they finally can walk the walk. The zone messed up so many teams going up and down, and you can see the carnage taking place on low ground. No and Naku, they are dancing, they are smiling. It is so easy for them. They can just watch everybody take each other out below. Clement and Floki trying their best, but you can see the mats are so low. Clement, he needs to be careful. He's not got a shotgun, so he's going to have to hit heavy with that SMG. You can see Floki now in the back of the zone, picks one up. Can he find any more? He's looking very, very good for them. Floki and Clement, they have control of the low gun in the meantime, but it's going to get very difficult as things start to slow down.
Have Crazy on the front side. A quiet bounce back for a lot of teams. This is exactly what they needed. Aqua 2 max 1. He's all in. And on the other side, the beam is there inside the storm. Is it enough to take that player down is the question. Absolutely crucial denial from Aqua and Noah Riley. Yes, it will be Julian Com going down, to Noah will find that full finish. Has another angle as well down below, but every single peak could be disaster if Noah misses.
They've got to be real careful here. You can see low on resources, trying to find where their opponents are. Tilt is going to be the thorn in their back as they try to take out Floki and Clement.
It is going to be ultimately a 2v2. Who will Till influence is the question. Aqua also low on HP overall, and we know he has no mats, so this might be Clement and Floki, the duo that's had such an issue working together, versus Aqua and Noah Riley, a duo that's had trouble just winning inside that top 10 over and over again. 2 big stories clashing, and only one will make it towards the finals. We're looking for Till. This is vital match. Take no damage, though. That's the key. Clement, a lot, though, taken away from his 200 HP pool. The Chuck Splash is there to catch it up. Can the clutch be here? This time is the question. Aqua now beamed down. There are no mats up top, but the bullets are still there too. They're going for it. Coming up on the left side. He's gonna go straight for the high ground retake, blocked by one wall. Is it enough? Both teammates all the way up towards the skies. It's gonna cost them almost all their HP. Floki is down. The dynamic duo is doing the most, but the beam is there too from Clement. He's trying to survive, but it's too much. Clement with a big shot and a block. That's what I'm talking about with the zone. Takes him over. No, O'Reilly survives. It's just enough by a sliver of HP for the victory royale.
There was only space on the red carpet for one of them, and it was Noah Riley and Aqua who took that position. It went all the way down to the Shio, but in the end, it is the boys on height who won it all. It was really difficult for them. You saw they dropped down, and that was the right play, right? Because Clement got a bit too over heels, and it didn't work out for him. He didn't have enough to sustain it. He lost his teammate, and he went down, and that means Aqua and O'Reilly will secure their spot. We thought it'd be coming at some point, but it was game 3 of session 2 that it did.
Yeah, Aqua and O'Reilly making it clean, but then also scary all the way at the very end, and they will be there in the finals now in that red carpet fashion we love the most.
It's good to see them finally make it. We'll see though how it translates further on. The deaths, you guys got to break it down. The zones there were going crazy, up and down, different elevations, so many teams squashed together. Let us know what happened there.
Sometimes it happens like that, Levin. The zone just decides, you know what? What if I just threw a little wrench into everyone's plans? But for Noah, Riley, and Aqua, they managed to keep it together. You know what's so crazy, Sundown? I love taking notes. And yesterday, my notes were this. This exact duo, Noah, Riley, and Aqua, found themselves in the exact same spot as yesterday. The difference was yesterday, Thomas HD and Tayson were the ones to shut them out of the high ground and then win the game. And then they never picked up steam after that. So in this same exact game, in day number 2, without these other Titans to slow them down, they have just made a finals spot.
And I think it's also beneficial here that the zones gave them the opportunity to really kind of go and press that advantage, but it still came down to being able to clutch up that 2v2 at the end against the Solari French duo. And it was close. I mean, the resources, they were able to do it and they were able to pull it out. But honestly, now I'm more excited about the fact that our #1 duo who is on the leaderboard just won a game. So they're going to get pulled off. They're going straight through to the finals. And that's going to make the battle for that top 6 spots with only 2 matches left just that much more interesting, Reese.
I mean, on top of that, you've got to remember, if you saw it in there looking really closely, while Aqua and Noah are on height, no ammo almost at all, almost down to completely 0. That last refresh they got just before it went into the final 2v2 situation parked them both up to about 170 each. We saw from Aqua's POV sitting down below, spraying up onto Floki up above. That knockdown was because he managed to pick up the small ammo at that moment. But huge congratulations, we'll say at the moment, to Clement and Floki too, who got second in that place. That's definitely, I mean, let's be real, when it comes to leaderboards, I'm sure they're super high up there at this moment as well. Didn't quite see where they finished, and we will be able to see on the replay at the bottom left here, but they were popping off, they were fragging, they were getting super team. This is like kind of the classical playstyle that I'm used to seeing. We've not really seen the quality of this across yesterday because obviously, like I mentioned at the top of the show, they struggled off spawn, but these guys are low ground players through and through. They're not game winners. They're guys who are going to get here in every single game, get through and get to those kind of third, seconds, the top 5s where the big placement points usually are, and this is like a clinical example of that.
It was close, right? It's close, and this is good though, right? It's for Floki and Clement. They're saying, okay, there's another dynamic duo that was ahead of us. They're now out of the way. So they're just paving their road, right? There's these little roadblocks that are just slowly clearing up and saying, that's it. This could be our opportunity. But once again, congratulations, Aqua, Noah, Riley. Come on, find your spot. There's spots in the back over there. If you guys want to be the cool kids in the back of the bus, that's fine. But you're going to finals, my friends. It is great to have you here. But so now we still have 2 more games to go. I want to turn attention to the standings, right? We break down the leaderboard right now. Refsguard and Scram, Floki and Clement, and again, Nico and Mushi. 3 teams all tied at the very tippity top. But there's really not that much of a crazy difference between like 1st and then like 6th, right? It's only like 20 points, give or take.
That's right around 15, 16 points there, Zeke, between 6th and 7th. There.
I'm not good at math. I said give or take.
Like I said, give or take. It's all right. We'll give or take 5 there. As you can see, with the top team being removed, we've had that artificial shooting happening where now, like right at that 6 and 7 line, it's 1 point separating them. There is a little bit of a drop off between 9th and 10th, but even as we get over this next page, realistically, anybody in that top 18, one decent result puts you right into that top 6 conversation.
Yeah, realistically, the players that are right here in the 11th down to 20th, the majority of these haven't actually even had a good game yet, right? In terms of like a top 10, top 5 in particular. And if they have, it's only been like 1 or 2. So like you mentioned, one good game, top 5, fire them up into the qualification threshold before that final match.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is why we spent so much time talking about it yesterday. It's so cool when you're looking at the top 6, someone gets a victory round and says, okay, well, I don't have to play anymore. There's a spot here. I'm gonna walk away. Okay, what you guys deal with this? I'm gonna go sit on the battle bus, right? That's what we're seeing now, and with 2 games left to go, we can see this happen again, right? We can even see a team all the way. Let's say it's the last team, 50th duo. They get a victory round. It doesn't matter, baby. You're going to finals. We'll have to see how this all continues to play out. But for right now, we got to jump aboard the battle bus again. So we have game number 4. So, Levin, Shy Wager, back over to you.
Thank you very much, guys. Look, we were wondering, Shy, whether you could teach an old dog new tricks, but it's fine because clearly Aqua's tricks still cut the mustard. They make it through in game 3, and now it's time to see who will take up the last couple of slots. In terms of the consistency, it's looking real tight, but of course, if you don't want to have to deal with all that at the top of the leaderboard, all you got to do is win a game, right? Pretty easy, no?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of like by the skin of their teeth for every team. Although Noah, Riley, and Aqua dominated the majority of the game, these final fights we're watching, Levin, it's like sword versus sword. There are no weapons involved otherwise, right? Like, it's always down to that final elimination. It's like a 1v1 every time in this duels competition.
It's funny because you say sword and all I do is get flashbacks to the OG Winter Royale, all them swords, but no, that's not what you're talking about. Metaphorically, of course. Look, it's gonna be tough. It's been tough in all these games you've seen in those closing moments, but ultimately, right, again, if you aren't gonna be one of those teams that can win out that game and can do enough to, you know, get over the line, you just have to keep on having some consistency. But again, we're running out of time to do so. You got to pick up the pace at some point.
Yeah, I feel like game 4 is kind of where things get absolutely crazy for all these other teams. Some of those at the bottom, you're right, will try to go for that win. Will try to be a bit more passive. That being said, some teams just want to go crazy with the elims. Try anything before that last game. Before that penultimate game, it's starting and it's happening. Game number 4 right now.
This is what it's all about, people. A chance to play in the FNCS finals. We're here in the semis. We've got 2 games left for you, but we've got plenty of hungry players who will be looking to do all they can to try secure the victory royale. And Dre and Flois are no different. Landing here towards the south of Covert. They've got the better drops. Will they get the loot to reward them? And Dre heads to the henchman chest. A sniper rifle isn't gonna be enough right now, so he's gonna have to try to find some more loot to engage with. Maybe if he was Thomas HD, I'd have a bit more hope, but in this case, I doubt it. Another sniper rifle. It might just be snipers only. Maybe the game mode's changed here, Shy. I don't know what's going on.
Possibly. Pickle somehow, though,
Another one.
has found a little bit of luck. Is that another one?
No, wait, no, okay.
We got shotgun ammo, a heavy pot, 2 med kits, and now, what, 3 snipers?
It's what it's all about, man. I'm telling you. I want to see it. I want to see some quick scopes.
They're making this difficult for both teams, and yeah, basically, Flo is forced to use a pistol. Great weapons in tow as well. Nothing special about Covert Cavern right now. A third-party team there too. It's Kane and Cruel who are upset at some of these teams coming in. You'd assume after surviving yesterday they'd have an easier time overall 11. But imagine watching people win from your spot. 2 teams, by the way, and then having 2 more come in the next day, making it so difficult for you to play.
Yeah, and we've seen how they've struggled to deal with it. Like you sort of alluded to, right? The loot advantage isn't very strong right now. I'm sure there's someone in Legends Landing with their friend going, see, this is why I don't land Covert. It's not even good loot anyway. So many teams, but not even good loot. Trust me, guys, it does get better. There is a vault and everything, so eventually you'll see someone go big, but at the moment, it's just about finding some sort of control in this early game fight. And Flois has got to be careful. He doesn't want to separate himself too much from Andrea, because if he does get picked out, could be put in a 2v1.
Splurge of materials there just to try to get control of one little vent. And now he's just down to a single metal build. This is just tough overall. The auto shotgun though, 1 more shot. Andrea doesn't have the trade, so it'll be a 1v1. And one of the most important ones for both teams so far. Siphon there for Pickle. Missed shot from Andrea. Now down to a sliver of 1 HP. He's gone.
And that's what I was talking about, right? Not wanting to get too split off from Andretta because the moment they realized they pinched him in, then it was absolute wraps. Pickle though, doing well to get Meldgaard out of sight and out of mind as he can get the revive. But Cruel and Kane, they know that they're somewhere, and so they will be on the hunt, and Kane is very suspicious. They know, they hear him. But will they be able to close it out? And they've got the Vault Key, right? So they hold all the cards here at Covert right now. Oh,
They know this is the best possible fight they can get. What a shot that started off from Cruel. We'll still push forward, knowing that one of these two have to be desperate on the other side is what Cruel and Kane are thinking, but overpeak from Kane. This is a very narrow angle, and Cruel might have been lucky with that first shot being unsuspected. Now, they all have to actually have an invitation to go for these peaks. Both sides now slightly weak.
this is a war of attrition. Pickle and Meldgaard, they haven't got much room to work with, so they're going to try to slither their way out. Oh dear, another party's rolled in. I feel like this happens at every fight we watch today, right? No matter where it is on the map, people can sniff the battle taking place and they want to get a seat at the table, they want to get involved. And that was actually perfect for Pickle and Meldgaard, right? That small bit of confusion, that small bit of chaos provided enough space for them to get out, regroup, try to get a bit of loot. And so what Cruel and Kane will do is go, okay, look, cool, you guys are able to get out, fair enough, but we have the vault. So ultimately, we're still in that. We still have the upper hand, we still have the advantage. And they'll be able to get out of Covert as well, I believe, if the toilet is there, which I believe it is in competitive and yeah, not in arena, but yeah, they'll be good. They will be very, very good.
Cyrus and Malumo. Unfortunate battles over here, and yeah, you saw that covert loot right there. Levin was ready to just take some time. You know, if you're watching at Legends Landing, just know, spend some time in the cavern, go for that wall. Maybe that's where you find big success. Wings and Force though, finally getting a leg up on the competition at the start of the game. Malumo and Surge will just be absolutely shut down once again at Shifty Shafts. I do see a team looming in the distance on one of the mountains. Might make a move to come in, but that position, it's so comfortable. You really don't want to move. Malumo's doing some damage though. Finally shot in the left leg. Unfortunately, this man is not going to walk again this game. We'll have one more coming in just a sec for him, and lots of more action off spawn to break down.
Yeah, who needs legs though when you got wings and he's hitting the shots like that? Replay from Greasy though, we've been seeing this fight. And it didn't go in Nipsey's favor last time round, and seemingly not going in Nipsey's favor this time. Julian coming Tilda. Ooh, Till went down. What happened in the 1v1? Got on the edge of my seat. Ooh, nice.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's a brand new duo. Never mind.
Yeah, this is again. It's happening. All the third parties. Julian Com, he hits a big shot, but it's not going to be enough with another team rolling in. You just can't get a 2v2 nowadays. All I want is a 2v2. I always have to be 2v2, 2v2, 2vx, all these teams coming in. I just want a 2v2.
Listen, I want like an item. You throw it down, you're taking to like a super dimension. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
a pocket dimension.
A pocket dimension. Yeah. You get to have your 2v2, you pop out, you roll in with your game. You know what I mean?
I actually like that idea, yeah. No, I'm actually with it.
This takes you to a box fight map entirely. A lot of these players are trying to that side of the realm so far, Levin, as you can see on the top right. Splash and Jams though, they've rock and rolled a little bit in those top sides of the competition. Struggling today so far, but I feel like with the more powerful teams getting taken out over and over again, with, you know, some of the bosses now on vacation until the FNCS finals, Splash and Jams, they can fool around a bit and maybe even get there themselves.
Yeah, they gotta be real careful with what they do. We talked earlier about how teams will just posture themselves all around Bugle. And so if you get caught in the middle and you don't have a big base like No Riley and Aqua did a couple games ago, things can get real dicey real quickly. Clement and Floki now, who've got second place last game, gonna be trying to run it back, but this time getting the victory royale.
I mean, looks like to be a foundation bugle zone, and we saw what happened last time this zone was here. It was just chaos for everyone and almost an FNCS solos. So might happen again. When it comes to Whiplash as well, I'm surprised that this vehicle survived this long without taking a shot, especially with Floki and Clement at the wheel. It just seems like they like to waste cars completely and tires. They are aware that they don't have the insurance though this time, right? So they're being very, very careful.
Yeah, make sure you always have insurance though if you are driving.
That is a legal requirement, I'm pretty sure. So I'm not advocating for that whatsoever.
Yes,
for the record. Yeah,
of
yeah.
Course. I don't think you'd ever do such a thing. Trust me.
Floki Clement, though, I can't speak for them. You know,
Yeah,
they're
they're doing them. You know, take it up for them. But on this side, Scammer Rescard, another team that has come second place today, who will be hoping and praying for a chance to get to the final.
You know, on top of the show, there was this one little package that we're asking the players. I think Rescard was involved. Would you rather have bionic legs or bionic arms? I feel like these guys either have bionic legs right now, or their calves are bigger than their chests, man. They have been running across the map 24/7. It feels like the zone has never gone to logjam once, and they have a max pull again all the way down the center.
I feel like there's a bit of some personal bias here from you, Shai. Or you're not happy they're not getting zones. Or
I'm just saying, man. I'm just stating the muscular stats of the team. You know what I mean? In terms of what I've been witnessing in the weekend. And honestly, I just want one opportunity for these guys to have the home zone. Just big chill. I think we had one logjam zone, but like they had issues off spawn or something. I don't even know. I'll just say that. I'll make that baseless claim once again. That's exactly what happened. I just want to see my boys thrive.
I thought you
Second win.
They ain't even getting the zone love. They ain't been getting the zone love. maybe we need some logjam zones. You know, I'm sure they would have thought, guys. You know, where the north zones at?
I'm typing it in the back end for game 5. Don't worry. Next zone, logjam zone.
Inject it.
Let's see, Swilliam, what do they need to do now? Up against Kiko Bosch, looking really good so far. First place overall on the boards. It feels like from this position, 34 points. I mean, maybe you have a phenomenal game here. You get second place, Levin, with like 5-6 elims, but this is another red carpet duo we're going to be forced to watch. There's no way they're going to get in through the back door.
I don't want to say what I want to say because everyone's going to call me mean. So I'm not going to say it.
Okay, no, we'll keep it wholesome. Is there any way you could nice it down?
I love Lecce and Swilliam, but I don't think they're a red carpet duo.
Really? No. Do you think they have a chance in these 2 games with this lobby? Or let me even, because now I can nice this up a little bit. I can push you in certain places. Do you think day 3 they have an even better chance? Or are these new duels coming in, the randomness kind of hurting them?
To answer you, Shia Wager, I pose you this question.
Okay.
Can any duo in session 3 truly be a red carpet team?
I feel like yes, if you win, 100%. I feel like you still have the momentum coming in, the experience of kind of winning a set lobby before the finals. You're still in the business, man. There's some teams that will be playing finals that never have won a game.
Sure. Or
like Rescard Scram have just had, you know, 1 overall. That's a red carpet experience.
You know what? Fair. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. But they're going to have to really improve on what they've been doing if they actually want to be playing their finals. Lecce and Swilliam, definitely fan favorites. Of course, Lecce, one of the biggest players in the scene. Been doing it for ages. And Swilliam, someone who, you know, cross-region, right? You know, playing on Asia not too long ago, but now competing in the EU. And it's not been the smoothest of transitions for him. And so I'm sure he'll want to start the year off with a bang, but you know, you gotta step up to the plate, right? You gotta really be able to change your own destiny in that sense. Floki and Clemento down on Surge, not looking good on materials, looking for a box fight against Splash and Jamsud, who aren't an easy team to box fight. Pretty standard stuff for them, I'd say. Yeah.
Question is, are we watching the opera again of Floki and Clement, because these fights last so long when they're involved? For Jamsud and Splash, it seems like they don't go down either. It's like you're fighting the Hydra. You end up taking off one head and suddenly Splash has like double damage on his shotgun, or Jamsud like moves at double the speed and you can't track him in these boxes. They just get buffed up the more you damage them down. Floki and Clement, though, this is dangerous. None of these builds their own. They have to take turns jumping up like they're at a playground. Kind of crazy they're allowed to even do that, but that's because there's Zara and his teammate on the backside rolling in and making this a 2v2v2, as per Fortnite engagements must be. The reason Clement and Floki are here right now and doing this, popping these splashes, the sound effects getting crazy, aquatic, is because of the Storm Surge threshold, 215 below, now up to 45 below still. And there's people creeping on their left side of the wall. It's metal, but it can't be sprayed through.
And time's running out for them. Time is seriously running out for them. I don't want to sound like a hater, but let you did go down. Just saying. Cool. Clement and Floki. They gotta get some damage on the board. Wowza. Okie dokie. Armored Wall comes in to stop that team from the left from getting involved. But they really need to do damage. You can't out-heal it. Floki, you need to sacrifice yourself. They're gonna go down anyway, Floki. Sacrifice yourself for the team, Floki. Sacrifice, no, Floki, oh goodness. I don't get why teams do that, Shy Wager. One of you can't out-heal it. No matter what you do, you can't out-heal it. Just sacrifice yourself for the team. Go into a box, do some damage, and allow your teammate to stay up and stay good.
It's a very viable, not even viable strat. That is the correct play to make, but at the same time, look at, you know, some of the decisions that happen inside that fight. Yeah, we can buy a lot of time with the armored walls coming through, right? But they then deny themselves to be able to make edits to get damage on those sides. You have to be, you know, dealing damage. That is priority number one. Yeah, surviving is also kind of priority number even one. But you armor wall up, you can't see that team anymore. You can't engage them. You put 2 armored walls up, right? Where are you getting the damage then? You don't have the shields to survive. Both priorities thrown out the window. You're right, one person needed to go down there. And we were right so close to the threshold overall. I think we were like 72 alive or something. So going down might have been the wave 2, but this is just visceral across the map. Kefi, Melody, I mean, this is just, these fights are getting rough on both sides.
I feel like what they just did is what has happened to them in so many of these games, where they just get torn through like that. So props to them to turning things in their favor. And I feel like we just keep seeing Boofink and Bevies in these mid-game engagements, and they just go the exact same way every game. This is what happened to Lechi. In fact, I'm not going to commentate this before people call me a hater.
Listen, man, what I'm seeing right now, fight after fight, these fights are looking like, even look at this, a few of the messes or the misses from Cheatin right now. Lepchi's there to pick it up, but you know when you're watching a boxing match and it's like the 7th of the 12th round, the 8th, like we're going all the way towards the end. These guys just look like they're swinging slowly. There's some misses here and there. 2v1s where one person gets taken down for no reason, or easy decisions to be made that are not being made. I feel like the exhaustion of the semifinals weekend for some of these teams that have been here for a while might be setting in.
You're right. You know, sometimes, like the example you gave, you know, the fighter's just trying to wait out the bell, you know, wait for the bell to survive. But the problem is in Fortnite, that bell isn't coming. You just won't call for FNCS, right? So teams really got to pick it up. On a serious note, though, right? Like, it's not great, right? There's only one game after this. And so ultimately, if you weren't anywhere near that top 6, you're playing for the all-out victory royale in this next game. The stakes just get higher and higher. Slove sliding into that box, but sliding his way back to the lobby. Yikes. Sick and Slove. Who I've actually been relatively impressed by in some of these engagements we've watched recently. Going down. Kiko and Moshi, my Portuguese Magnifico, has always got to give him that shout out. Shout out to Mama Kiko as well. Love Mama Kiko. Just lovely woman, you know? Lovely woman. They're sitting in first place in the consistency, which is really nice.
Some of the Elims this game. They just rocked in, tied with first. Going into this game, it was a 3-way tie.
Love that. Love that, you know. That's the camaraderie.
Tutaj kończyło ze streamem.
It's nice. I hope that good vibe lasts the whole game. And these guys don't make any mistakes going into these moving zones. And they have synergy. I mean, we haven't seen, I feel like Kiko and Mosh do absolutely completely well towards the end game, right? They survive a little bit. They have maybe a voice in the 8th-9th zone, but I don't see them in that final fight.
Again, right? An example of just having to understand or trying to understand what your win condition is. Shmeki isn't going to have any win condition if he can't get out of this box. Messing up the edits there, and it cost him.
Come on!
Oh my goodness. Very, very lucky to be alive right now, but he was fluffing up the edits, and he almost went down as a result of it. I know it's a high-intensity situation, but you got to be on it, boy. You got to be sharp.
I have a feeling Tyson, or Tazian. I keep saying Tyson. It's just that IE back and forth. Tazian, officially saying it correctly on the 4th day of broadcast. But I feel like one of his, or his teammate at least, might have been on the edit entirely too. So you ever try to edit something that doesn't edit and you know it's yours and you panic a little bit?
Yeah.
That might have been the situation there. So total blame not on the player completely. Lowless as well. You're talking about POVs with SD that, you know, there is no chance for consistency whatsoever. You want to go for that win overall. 11 points on the right side of your screen, down on Surge as well. If you're talking about all ins, this is one right now that needs to happen here, or they just really have one more game where they need to win. It's one of those circumstances where half the lobby's in that same condition. It's just completely tough. The shield keg is here. Very good tech to maybe outlast the zone a little bit, but they need to find beams somewhere. They have a very cool spot on the map here too, Levin. They can walk around and choose to pick apart any team. They can get in the zone even and then start to shoot. They have the time, but they're focusing on one high ground team, just putting all their options into one basket. 2 Spider-Man swingers as well, but no shots landed. Lola's SD, I'm not sure about this decision, my friends. Maybe it's time to move and get better angles.
Yeah, you mentioned their positioning.
Never mind.
They're in a good spot, right? Because they have a clear path to get to zone. They've obviously dealt the damage there to keep them just above. But again, they need to do more because in a moment, in an instant, they're down below and waiting a bit too late. And now you have a team who knows you're very low. Amplify and Flodax probably won't let up.
Amplify Flodax did not even know that they were there at the start of this entire engagement. They could have easily gone by towards the right side, used that keg while they were moving as well, possibly if they wanted to stay up and maybe take, you know, 25 damage here and there from that lightning, and then be in a spot to look at everyone come to them and shoot. Refsguard and Scram with this big snake built base, they can do that going backwards. They have like 4 different boxes, 8 different lines of sight, and possible double beams on a freshly built metal walls, and that's exactly what they'll push for. Not sure about their damage situation, but them being this desperate, looking for that and not focusing on position. Levin, you have to assume these guys are low on damage and they want to stay up and ahead.
Yeah, and it's going to become really important to do that because the zone's popped, 6 zone, everyone knows where they have to go. It goes all the way towards the Daily Bugle. There's going to be a change in elevation as well, and so being able to track that, forecast that, figure out how you're going to elevate yourself naturally is really important. And we're going to see all the teams who don't think about that go down really early here.
There's just a Shakespearean quote all the way back from the old days, Levin. You want to hear it?
Go on.
If it's past zone 6, you must take some risks. And that is word for word from Shakespeare himself.
Yeah.
That might be what Refsguard and Scram might have to do for the win, but they are ahead in consistency. They might not want to take any of those risks and play it safe. Let's see what they do.
The great Albert Einstein once said, shut up and rotate. And so for Kiko and Moshi, it's time to do that. You see, they have their eyes set on something. They're waiting for a team to use a pad that they can rotate, but that time might not come. And the zone now on their backside. And so without the pad, they have to run their way in, and it's so difficult. Kiko so low, gonna struggle to even stay alive. And as they try to build their way up as well, Moshi has to commit so many materials, and it's going to be difficult. He's done well to get up to this point, and Kiko actually does stay alive, but it's so difficult for them, Shayo, because they don't have many materials left to work with.
Refsguard has no space to work with either. This thing is crushing down like a compactor. He has to move away.
Ja, den vägde was
either. Now once again, the dynamic duo with a bounce back too. Not even insulting, but just desperate and unfortunate for them. Maybe the revive is possible if we find Scram. It's left to another clutch, and Refsguard needs to get as many points as possible. They're right there at the lead, 2nd place overall, and they want to maintain top 6. He must stay alive here. It's the 7th zone, but possibly all the way at the end of the 8th. It's 2 minutes of time by himself as an individual.
But how can he clutch with no match, Shayo? It's going to be so difficult. And he's at the front side of the zone. It's not like he can just pick off a solo here. The only teams that are going to be here are good ones. And he found something, and it's going to be more than enough to keep him ticking just in this one for now. 200 brick builds. He'll be okay. He can maybe stagger a bit now with those peppers. He's got the Spider-Man web shooters as well. And so maybe, just maybe, this will be enough to keep them high up in them standings.
You talk about high ground too, it's so difficult to hold as the entire ground moves so low. The entire builds towards the sky become even higher and higher. Swifty and Huddy have put a lot down, but they have to keep moving towards the bottom. They have to go into Mosh. I'm not sure where Kiko is entirely. It might be a solo operation. Now below, though, Shmeki clashing with Irazumi, and Leader's there to help his teammate too. Do they lose a body? They do. It's Leader by himself now. Refsguard, though, is clutching on the top right side. He has a formation of height, but he has to drop down once again. He finds more Matt 273 wood to boot with as well, and he has the Spider-Man web shooters to rock with. It's It's Mosh that he takes out. Leader now, from that low ground perspective, is in trouble too in the tall grass. He'll try to hide, but maybe even get wild and have a little bit of a surprise. It's up to him as Huddy is going to drop off of height with no builds. Boom! It's Karma who has it, but he's also there as a solo, and he drops down too. 1 HP. Boobach is there to keep the dream alive. Karma will try to catch back up, but this entire endgame is complete chaos.
And it's another endgame with duos, but plenty of solos. Boobach gets another elimination as well. This will keep him ticking along. He actually might be able to control height even as a solo, but he's got to stay aware. There will be people trying to take in the backside. Melody and Kefi, you can see they're posturing up to it now. They want to build fight. They want to make it a creative battle because they know he's all alone. And so now it's time for him to hit some key shots if he wants to keep his team in this one with a fighting chance. A big shot there, 69. Can he hit more? It's enough to scare them off. He gets the knock now as well. Boobach is hitting crazy shots. He's keeping his team in this one, but he's got to be careful. He drops down. Not enough! He hits that shot as well. Kefi will go down. How's Boobach staying up? But it won't be enough. Oh my goodness, but Lucy and Hydro will quiet Boobach down. How he hit those shots in the first place, I will never know, but it wasn't enough to get the victory royale. Shia Wager, another crazy game.
Eyes in the back of the head of Boobach, but eyes straight ahead for Hydro and Belusi. They were right there yesterday, didn't qualify by just 1 place, and they took the win away today. One of the teams that are going to be going straight towards the finals with a very, very statistic fight fight. You can see it from Boobach's perspective. What an unfortunate jump towards the end. So close, some amazing shots.
You could see it in his eyes. He knew how close he was to victory, to all the glory, but it wasn't quite enough. But he has one more game to do it, right? And we have one more game, but don't go anywhere, right? The deaths are gonna break down what happened in all of that. That was absolute madness. Guys, please give me the rundown.
Don't worry, we got Sundown here for that rundown. Wow, what a game. And this is a duo that kind of touched on. They missed that qualifying spot by 1 yesterday, right? Like, of the 11 teams, they were that 12th team that just didn't make it through. But Sundown, give us the rundown, because today, they make it.
I mean, and so far it's been about on the low ground when they are able to win through. It's playing with your opponent, and the bigger story has been how well you're managing your resources and materials and where your key refreshes are coming from. Because as we've seen, high ground control just kind of tends to peter out there towards the end, Reese.
It does, and what's interesting is the fact that if you look back to the previous match, they were the team that was on high ground, and they were the team that was taken over by Aqua and Noah Really 2, who eventually ended up winning the game. So this time, they just did that little flip card on them, turned it completely around, stayed on that lower layer, ensured that they had enough materials from those refreshes, and then took an easy 2v1, because obviously it was just a mess up on height when every team was trying to win.
Yeah, super rough. The chaos, you could tell, right? The nerves are starting to get to some of these duos. Because they're not, I don't want to say they're mistakes. They are, but it's just there's a lot of things happening, right? You have to process a lot of information all at the same time and then make a split decision. Wow, my brain was hard on there. Split second decision and then execute on that, right? And for someone like Boobach, who literally, I mean, just the craziest shots. I just don't know how that's even, that's just, okay, Boobach, listen, that was a crazy shot. But still, we only have 1 game left to go, boys. So what can we expect from the duos here, right? They need to do something if they want to either make it in those top 6 spots or get themselves a victory royale. Now, I will remind you, we still have day number 3 tomorrow, but let's try and make it in through today, right? Sundown, just do it today.
Right, the pressure kind of rises up, but right now, what duos need to do is they need to be looking at that leaderboard really closely and figuring out what can I do in this game to make my Fortnite season last longer. How do I make it through to the finals? We can see some of the duos who have already advanced going through. Loot Boy having a great day, having Aqua, Belusi, and Hydro going through. Noah Wiley also joining. Then Malad, Walks, Coop, and Frack winning the first 2 matches. But everyone else, it's either win or get yourself into that top 6. So if you're in top 6 range, it's, hey, you're playing for that end game. You're doing everything you can to stay on your feet. If you're not kind of in touching distance of that top 6, it's victory royale or bust.
But look at how close it is up in the top 6. 90 points is the current threshold. down till 10th is currently 80. So anyone up in that kind of 1st till 4th is going to be really pivotal. They could still fall out easily, like Rescard Scram at the top, Kiko and Mosh in 2nd. These guys could easily fall out if, I mean, some of these other players have a big game. I'm saying easily. It's still possible at the same time. No place is secure. But for any of the players who are like further down, you know, if you're seeing them not in that kind of 20th down till 50, like these guys, like you asked earlier, Zeke, they're looking to win the match. It's like for some of them it may be a little bit out of the question. Not the players on this page, definitely potential to get up into that top 6, you know, maybe 120-ish points is what they're looking for. So Victory Royale being 30, well not the Victory Royale, because that'll take you straight there. 2nd place with a bunch of eliminations will obviously fly you up. 100% possible for some of the players still up in the top half of this page.
That's right, man. And again, it's just the Victory Royale, right? Like, there's 5 games, right? Whatever's happened to you and your duo, just let it wash over. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. If you could just do yourselves a favor, secure the Victory Royale. No one can look at you and be like, wow, look at how bad or good you did this whole time. They can just be like, oh, you got yourself a Victory Royale. You're going to finals. Respect. It's done. It's said. That's it. But this is it, guys. For day number 2, we have 1 game left to go. I mean, we've seen so many of those duos keep getting so close. I'm looking at Refsguard. I'm looking at Scram. I'm looking at like Fast Strokey. I'm looking at like all these people that just keep getting so close and they just can't make something happen. What is misfiring, right? Is it the nerves? Is it maybe just like, hey, honestly, like we have a whole day tomorrow. Let's just kind of take today. Let's just take learnings and bring it into tomorrow. Like, what do you guys think right now?
Well, I mean, Reese has talked about it from the opening of the show. Refsguard and Scram have won 1 game in the set lobby ever. So if you're looking at their game plan, everything's kind of going according to that ridiculous textbook you talked about last game, Zeke. They're set. They've put themselves in all the end games. They've gotten more than enough points. Barring something absolutely ridiculous here, we should be seeing them into the finals. I think the bigger question is what's going to happen right around that 6th place mark? Does a team who would have been pushed in the top 6 end up winning? And then if so, which one of the little individual efforts is going to end up making the difference? Because so far in every single region, there has been 1 or 2 duos who in the final game, other than the team who pushed through in the Victory Royale, who has been able to impact the top of their leaderboard and make some clutch plays.
Yeah, and you know, when I'm looking at the teams who are there, I'm thinking like, who's the team who could potentially win this? And what's interesting is when I'm looking at the top 6 teams, none of them I actually pick out as game winners. You know, most of the people who are game winners who I'd put in this lobby are already there. The teams who are up in the 6 should be in what is, in all honesty, no surprise. The teams who usually play that low, who usually play that mid ground as well, who are more consistent, who are more calm about things, like Rescard Scram, obviously like Floki Clement, the guys we've been focusing on a lot today. What I'm looking at is actually Trulex and Chico, who a lot of the times do play a ton of low ground, but Trulex has that FNCS winning experience of a very height dominant team. I'm thinking, you know what? They're already on the border. Maybe it'll be the time.
Dude, I'm nervous. You know me. I just want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to win. I'm a people pleaser, and I just want everybody to have a great time.
It's a battle royale.
I'm already getting nervous. I'm aware, my worst nightmare, but it is what it is. This is it, everybody. Game number 5, the last one on the day for just Europe here in semifinals, day number 2. But again, we still have a whole another 6 games. That's right, 6 tomorrow. So for now, let's get ready to do this one last time in Europe for the day. 11, that wager.
I mean, Sundown Reese spitting facts. Zeke's nervous. Levin's hot. I'm excited. We're getting ready for the final game of semifinals for the FNCS day number 2. I mean, Levin, one more opportunity. We've seen all the stats. We've found the hard facts. But right now, emotional-wise, what are you feeling? Which team is rocking it in?
Look, like Sundown said, it is Victory Royale or bust. You have to come in and swing for the fences. And I don't know how you've done it to me, Shayo, but I am riding for you right now. Scram and Refsguard, it's been such a tough journey. I'd love to see them just really cap it off right now in the final game and secure their spot. But there are so many other duos who will be feeling like they've done enough, right? Feeling like they deserve to be in contention to win it all. And this is your chance, right? 4 down, 1 to go. And we have that one right on the way.
Semi-final game number 5. One more team rolling in with a Victory Royale straight to finals. 6 more on consistency, but many more on the way on day number 3 as well. You want to make sure you make the most of the best situations. With just 46 teams in the lobby, this might be one of the easiest rides for someone who can grab on to control of the lobby. Bubak so close last game, 2nd overall 11 off a solo clutch karma falling down from the skies, and this time it's very different. No fight right off spawn. They're making things a lot more tactical, strategic for their last chance at this day for the finals.
Yeah, I'm sure there would have been some words between Bubak and Karma about what went down, because they were looking so good, so primed and ready, and Bubak was hitting all the shots necessary, but he just didn't have a companion by his side. And so maybe this game will be the chance to do the remontada, run it back. But this is a fight that has been run back plenty of times to the same effect. This duo having all the struggles, not able to find any bit of success, sitting in 27th. And a perfect example of a team that just has to get a victory royale.
I mean, you're talking about run backs. This fight has been crawled back, slapped back, dragged back multiple times. The words to describe this fight are anything but pleasantful. All the way here towards the POI, where Julian and Till are just all inning 24-7 against the team, and this is their first time rocking in as well. Greasy Grove has not been polite, has not been welcoming to any team so far, but it's just been fights and fights and fights, no splits whatsoever. This might be the first game where both teams would have a say. And you look at the situation at Chonker Speedway, you look at the peace on the battleground. It has been broken. Floki and Clement with the all-in have started an absolute battle right here. It's just gonna be tough so far. Swilliam and Floki, a 1v1. Two Guzzle Juices, no shield on the side of Floki either. Ref's guard down as Lotix also takes him off of spawn. No one right now is happy whatsoever. They don't want to play their normal game. Everyone's switching it up. The peaceful players going straight towards the fight. Everyone that was just fighting starting to split apart as well. For Floki though, he has to lock this in against William, who we know is an avid box fighter.
And Floki has no materials to work with, so he's got to be creative with his angles. And based off of that play from Swilliam, I suspect he doesn't have much materials to work with either. And so now it'll be a wild goose chase down to the bottom. It's all about who can hit the crucial shots. Swilliam's got the HP advantage. And with just 4 attempts with this striker pump shotgun, Floki's got to be clinical. Oh.
No way.
Oh.
Not like this. And this is the cost of that fight.
That is not how you want things to end in your final game. They are high up in the standings, but it's going to be about whether or not it can hold. And that was worst case scenario for Floki and Clement. That is rough. That is real rough. They're now going to be sitting around waiting this whole game to see whether or not they'll be able to hold on to that spot.
I mean, 110 yesterday was that final spot. It did jump up by about 20 points in that final game, especially with, you know, one of the teams in the lead probably winning too. So I don't think it's looking good at all for Floki and Clement right now. If you look at history of semifinals so far this season, in terms of the teams that were also in the lead, Levin, Ref's guard, off-spawn fight, interruptions possibly. Not sure if Scram is still left. We'll see in the replays momentarily. Here we go.
Dang. So this was Till at Greasy Grove, taking Nipsey out. Let's take a look at the cavern. It's been a hub for so much action today. And Slovian sick. Wowza. Bang, and the dirt is gone. Sindre and Lotix, who were the ones fighting Scram and Ref's guard. And this is how this one ended. 5 HP. Wow. A lot of action off spawn. You would have thought maybe teams would try to be a bit more conservative, holding on to their last life. But they went all in.
I guarantee you the majority of teams were struggling getting damage overall. Once again, it's late to mention it, but for Storm Surge, you gotta deal damage for 2 passive. That's when the server starts to punish you and just lightning strike you over and over again until you get past a certain type of damage threshold the lobby's setting. For a bunch of these teams off spawn, yeah, they're making it off. They might be splitting the drop, but unfortunately, because of that, they're not fighting. They're not dealing that damage level. In this last game, they tried to switch that up, but, you know, 4 games with no fights into just, you know, jumping into that cold water, it's some type of a shock. You're like, oh, wait, Did I forget how to place my wall or my shots? Why are they not hitting? I'm here in the semifinals. It's tough, man, to get back in that groove.
Yeah, and Joe and Flores, they've had no groove today. It's fair to say that. It has been a tough time at Covert. They've not been able to translate. It's tough, man. A couple of duos have had the same experience where they saw teams qualify for a POI. They thought, all right, they're gone. It's easy, right? Just do what they did and we win, right? Surely. It's never been easier. But these guys have been forced away, and you can see they're dipping now, right? Using that ventilation to get out or dodge. But it's not as easy as just walking into a POI where a team's been successful and then just winning, right? There's more to it than that, and Joe and Flows have been the perfect example.
If that's the case, everyone will be great, right?
Yep.
If that's the case, I could be a rapper, just say the same words.
You are a rapper.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But not multi-platinum yet, so lots of work to do. Just like Bubak,
Hey.
Karma, you know, they're close. 98, spitting bars, but once again, 110, 120-ish for that rock. And actually, if we're doing the hard stats, you don't need to have the Shio facts, you can have the real ones instead. 114 is what you need. So Bubak and Karma, very, very close. Question is though, how did they get to that same spot as the last game? If I'm looking at their history so far in games today.
Ooh, little piece control. Ooh, Rafa. Slow down, buddy. You gotta hit the max damage after you hit the piece. Crazy. He's going crazy. Gets the knock. 2v1. Doesn't even want to waste any ammo. Conservative. All right then.
Coolest pickaxe I've ever seen, by the way. Sorry for not competitive take at all, but hold, that's like,
Yeah, man.
cracked.
It's clean.
I gotta visit the shop after this.
What's your favorite pickaxe in the game? Not that one now.
That one.
No, you can't pick that one. You can't pick that
There's this like wizarding staff. I don't know the official name for it, but it has like gems floating around in it. It's like very, very old school.
one. Yeah.
Definitely my wave.
Well, my one is the FNCS pickaxe.
Okay, man. Okay. You held that one before? You had it in your inventory? Ever?
No, yeah,
Have
man.
you used it, Levin?
One day.
One day.
I promise you, one day I'm gonna get it.
Take a
One day. Oh gosh.
Listen, you do that, man, and I don't even know. I'll get one to you in real life.
Well, look, Zeke is Fortnite, right? So if I
That's
just
true.
ask Zeke, surely you can hook me up, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
has to be the way. Shakespeare once said that, you know, Zeke can make it happen. So that man was never wrong. He had many plays if you weren't aware of as well. So definitely a wave. Look at Swilliam right now. This is desperation. Before it seemed like, you know, a little bit of organized chaos, like they're definitely fighting. But if my eyes don't deceive me, the zone is actually away from Chonker Speedway, Levin. They're fighting inside the storm in the final game.
In the words of the great Aristotle, storm fight bad, fight quick, leave fast.
Man, we are really on our history lessons today, aren't we? It's getting crazy with it.
Disclaimer, Aristotle may or may not have actually said that.
Bigger disclaimer, I don't think I have any idea what I'm talking about at all when I mention any of these things. So just take it with a really big grain of salt.
A massive grain of
That's
salt.
one big rock
Boulder.
salt thing.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Chico and Trulex, Reese was talking about these guys. They've been able to sort of toe the line. They're sitting in 6th, which is literally the cutoff. So we'll be watching these guys very closely throughout this game to see whether or not they can hold on. If the game was to end now, if Zeke, Mr. Fortnite himself, was to end the lobby right now, these guys would be qualified to the finals. But as it stands,
He's not doing that. Yeah, he's just
he's
not ending the lobby.
Yeah. Just to clarify for
Said he was
everybody
not-
watching, he's
Yeah.
not doing that. Yeah, cool.
Was going to press the button, and then he
Yep.
just said, no, I'm not doing it.
Yep.
And I respect that. I mean, right now, looking at the amount of teams that are on this line, 114 they need to hit, you know, Bubak Karma. Fulky Clement obviously down this game, but yeah, Trulex is the next up-and-comer in that spot. I believe Leader and Irazumi are actually tied with him overall at 6th. And you're wondering, yo, Shy 11, what are you talking about all these numbers? What do they mean? What are you even looking at on your screen? I see 79, I don't see 6. Yeah, what are you talking about? So updates this season. I know a lot of people like to tune in for that last game as well. See that hot action. At the bottom left, it shows exactly what position the team is in. And if you have their teammate up as well, if you have like a drone shot, you can see the number beside their name right now. It says number 9 next to Slovace. 38 for Mr. J and Wolfie. That's their place overall in the competition. By the end of these games, the top 6 will move on towards the finals. So all these teams are trying to get there. I mean, it looks impossible for Mr. J and Wolfie now, but to set the stakes once again, it's not over for them. You can also win and go straight to the final. So that's exactly what they'll have to do. Now to talk about the final number on screen, it's on the right side. That's Storm Surge. If you're too passive, you're just gonna be taking 25 damage over and over again in the form of Purple Lightning. And so a lot of teams will be forced into engagements. They can't just walk around the edges of the map. Who likes to watch that? Absolutely no one. Not even Levin. And sometimes he watches the most boring things ever. So, you know, he's told me he doesn't like that either. Every team will be forced to fight and take that damage. And right now, 49 below. I mean, Mr. J and Wolfie just need a few more shots. We're checking in with a couple of the teams. This is very important for Leader and Irazumi on the right side of your screen to get this damage done. 11 above, it's cool. They're right above the line, but you'll notice the whole lobby will be dealing this damage, and that number will change up and down. You kind of want to be in the triple digits, somewhere close to 200 to be comfortable. If not, you're basically sleeping on a bench outside. It's going to be cold. It's going to be worrisome. Will you get the rest? Will you be in trouble overall throughout the night? And that is the question on Leader and Irazumi's mind. 6 below, and that surge is about to start ticking in about 10 seconds.
And you can see these guys have the leg up on Lazen here. But for how much longer? At what point will they notice the double SMG spray will come through? We've seen that play so many times this season. It's so strong. They're able to do a tiny bit of damage, but they won't be satisfied with that. And it might be okay to take this fight isolated. Not many teams involved to be able to third party. They've got to make sure that they get the angles right, put themselves on the other side of this team, sandwich in them. And you can see the Purple Lightning Shy was talking about coming into the fold.
This is tough.
And they just got to start doing damage. They can't afford to just sit around.
2 shots.
But can they hit the shots? That's the important thing.
1 shot. They need 1 shot. They're going to be going through all their shields because they can't find 1 bullet on any player around them. Move into the zone. Do something. The stalemate makes no sense. That other team is fine on damage. They won't be moving. Just get out of here. You are costing yourself your entire inventory for staying in the spot due to ego, due to something. I'm not sure what, Levin, but they need to find someone else.
The problem is there's just not many places to go. Like you said, the team below them, they know they're struggling with Searcher. They're just going to sit comfortably, hold some walls. And they really should have forced the issue once they had the chance. At this point, like you said, they are just going to be burning through resources. And this is tragic now. Look at this. It really is rough to watch because at this stage, they've got barely any shields, not much health. It's not going to be easy.
7th place overall, too. They're so close to qualifying. They need top 6. They're dropping down to 8th, 11th. They cannot go down here.
If they go down, it will be the end of what's been a grueling session where they had done so well up to this point. And we hit 70 players, right? And 70 players means that Storm Surge will ease down for the moment. But they're still going to be struggling on damage when that next, round of Storm Surge pops. So they've got to figure out a way to, 1, get their resources and shields up a bit higher, and 2, do some damage.
Hold on, a bit higher. They need to move countries and change professions in terms of what they sell at the store because they're all out of shields, man, in place. It's desperation, drastic actions across the entire map. Mastroki Kylie. Very smart from Mastroki to go to this wall. It just becomes a shooting gallery for him, and the big 130, the big damage too that they needed, 57 above after all of that. When you go back to that Reese mentioned team, Chulex, Chico, I'm not sure what their damage entirely looked like. Their spot 11, very different. It's like we were watching 2 very, very different games. They're right in the center of all the action. Bubak Karma there as well. And although Chulex, they look, very high and mighty, just high rolling through very comfortable chairs inside their base. For Bubak and Karma, they are literally crawling on the ground, trying to find whatever they can to make it through to the next portion of this game.
I think the one silver linings that they seem like they will be good on damage in terms of, you know, they've got an elimination. Bubak was dealing a bit of damage just earlier. And so, in terms of their battle for Surge, they should be alright. You'd expect to see them sort of go through. Kiko and Mosh, though, look like they're struggling in the feed. I saw Mosh get knocked earlier, Kiko going down in the feed as well, so that might be the end of the line for the Portuguese players, but the story still continuing for Arizumi. What their path to victory will be is so tough now. Can they stay on the line? Can they keep themselves in the game? A replay here from Shmeki's POV. Let's see the strike. Oh, stinger. Wow.
They didn't call him a striker, man. I mean, that was a power kick right there in the box. I mean, that's nuts.
SMG shotgun, no difference, man.
What I'm seeing too is a difference in loadouts from a lot of teams. Maybe some that haven't seen a lot of end games, but 12 chug splashes on multiple different people. Shmeki foregoing a little bit of rotation, maybe not having access to the web shooters. He has more room for those shields, but they'll have a lot to work with. I feel like some teams that have this much in their inventory, they'll start to overthink things, Levin, and maybe end up tripping up over themselves rather than opponents when they make the end game.
Yeah, and this is where your decisions will have such a large impact on the rest of your game, Shire.
Yeah.
Like where you position yourself, the amount of resources you burn could be key. You can see in the bottom right, Bubak barely above on Surge, just sitting 66 above and having to commit a lot of metal right there, which isn't going to be great, right? That's the kind of resource you want to have later on in the game. And you can see the zone. We're at Tilted Towers, and things are going to start getting crazy very soon.
Already getting crazy. Scram fully eliminated, and at this point I don't see any chances for a reboot. Why is that important? They're basically almost the de facto first place leaders of the lobby so far. They will have enough to qualify, it seems like, off of just being in this game. If the threshold is truly 114, that 129 to start. But Refsguard is left once again to play solos, Levin. Always it seems like this man has been clutching by himself the whole day.
Refsguard's got all the firepower he needs to be able to get through this one. We've seen some solo clutches already. Arizumi won't be able to solo clutch though. He will go down, and that's huge as well. We saw how high up they were in the standings. Trulex and Chico will be dancing because that's exactly what they needed. They need all these teams around them to go down.
They need 22 points as well to try to be close to that qual threshold. Swilliam down as well, and there is the final confirmation of leader leaving as well. So yes, exactly what Levin said. One opponent, not in the wave, but there is a foe they can't actually touch. That's Surge striking from them all the way above. Very crucial shot from Chico there to get them right above that line. But at 51 players, it can go any which way. Finally, the threshold turns off, but there is still one instance of Surge still left. That's when these zones start to move as well. Trulex and Chico know they are behind. They not only move, try to win this game, try to be consistent, but also deal damage and maybe change up the game plan they had to start with. And that is very tough to do, especially with the zone. Lots of hills, lots of weird ways you can get stuck at this layer. And they will start to move, maybe even go for this launch pad. That'll be huge. Getting this package will change their destinies entirely and maybe even cause them to qual. Meanwhile, Bubak and Karma on the other side. Look at their match level. Look at their position. It's looking so good right now. They've taken control of this game.
Yeah, Bubak wants to run it back. He was so close last time. He was in touching distance. And this time he'll be hoping Karma can just stay up. And you're right. That launch pad could be the difference maker for Trulex and Chico. And so we'll keep a close eye on how they do. But Shmeki and Tazzy and another team, right, sitting in third, they're looking comfy, right, in terms of 120. And for them, it's all about what they can do to ruin other people's chances of qualifying, right? If these guys are comfy, if these guys know they're going to be able to qualify, they just need to make it more difficult for anybody around them. And the longer they stay in the game, the worse it gets for everybody who wants to be in the top 6 with them.
Bubak and Karma are right beside them currently, and we're going right into Tilted Towers. Buildings in the way. Crazy skyscrapers to just climb. This is going to be absolutely intense for a lot of these low ground teams. If you don't have web shooters, if you don't have a launch pad, you are going to have a very tough time. And it's also a very close rotation though, so players will have mats to use. That's Refsguard finally taken out, but those guys are definitely qualified at 129 once again. We're looking at Bubak right now, though, 11. Second place last game. He never really makes the end games, except for that one. He's at 1/11th the whole day past that. He needs to defy all odds and make it happen right now.
And he's got the means to do it. The launch pad will come through. They know where they need to go. They're going right to Tilted. Bubak as well has some web shooters available. And in this position here on the front side of the zone, they'll be able to do some damage if they see fit. You can see Bubak opening up that edit, using that SMG, and you'd expect him to hit a couple more shots, but they'll be fine. 140 below though for Trulex and Chico. I can't say the same about them. They need to launch and fast.
Jump.
The chug splash will come through. He needs the heals if he's gonna survive the zone. And this is where it gets dicey. They need to hope that nobody has eyes on them, because if they take any couple of shots, it could get real bad. They're sitting right in 6th, and they need to make sure nobody's in their box. They've got to stay careful. They've got to stay close. Chico and Trulex will go down in 6th. And it probably won't hold. They're going to be crossing their fingers, hoping it does.
Look at Bubak!
But as you can see, Bubak trying to get up high, trying to regain his position on height. Karma fell down last time. Not again, though. They need to stay up. This is their chance to win it all.
Kings of the City, Tilted Towers, has a new CEO. It's Bubak with Karma rolling in as that chief financial officer of Mats, all the way at the forward part of the build. Look at the beams from Bubak. Lots of teams in front of him, though. He's going to use that Spider-Man gauntlet to get all the way towards the front and deny any chance of a big climb up top. But it's Kane and Cruel. They've been here before. We know they have pads, but they're put in the blender. Back and forth, armored walls will give them a little bit of moments to breathe, but Bubak is still there on the right side with the peak. It's going to be a very tough stare down, and they'll have a chance to edit up once again. Liza and Mirza, they're not done too. Every team here, Levin, might be behind. The win is there. They want to make sure they grasp at it too. Chug Splash has been thrown left and right like bottles breaking glass inside these boxes. It's tough. It's getting a little bit slippery too. All the way up top, players are dropping down low. It's Kali and Fastroki at 98. They're trying to make things go as well.
Yeah, Kylie and Fastroki on the low ground. It's going to be hard to find a sense of control here, but they need to stick together, right? It's so crucial that they stay side by side and make sure they stay ahead of the elevation. You can see it moving up the hill, and so they need to stay tightly. They're trying to find anything. You can see low on HP taking a moment, yeah, to take a breath as the end game continues.
Not a single player has really gone down in the zone. Deox is the first one to fall. Everyone wants to qualify. They want to survive. As a result, we have 24 players left alive inside this 8th zone. Dan is making a move up top. Bubak's in trouble now. Their mats are dwindling low. Naku's going for it too. Kali down on low ground. Has a right-hand peek with Fastroki. It's getting crazy. Bubak inside the storm truck. Splash is dropping left and right. He's not going to have enough to stay alive. Fall damage again. It's up to Karma by himself. Does he have the materials to live? A reconnect. 200. But pressure from the back. The beam. It's enough. Another catch. This is nuts from Karma. How is he doing it? He has a little bit of moment to live, but with just 10 mats, he needs to Elam right now.
Bubak did all he could last game, but it's in the hands of Karma now. He has the Spider-Man web shooters to stay up on height just that bit longer, but Neko and Dan will do everything they can to take it from him, and that move comes through just like that. He won't be able to hold it, but will he be able to stay in the game?
Kali Fastroki now on the left side. No match. They're going for an all-in. Inside this box, the beams are there, but no! Interruption from the left, and they are denied. Karma now in the mid-ground. Melody down low 2, right at the cusp, 114. It might just be enough, but they need just a little bit extra to keep pushing forward. 5th place for the moment. They're looking at edits on all around their sides on the builds. They don't have many left, but they have a few options of a few boxes right in front of the front. At the time, though, it looks like there's a lot of space for them to actually use. They push back cheating. High ground is still pressuring. They're not sure exactly what's going on above them, but they know they have as much time needed to just survive down low. It's Dan and Naku that have taken over. At 97 points, they'll have to win this game to qualify. They have to wrap it up right here, Levin.
Neko and Dan, they know everything is in their hands. They have complete control, but Cruel has no control. He needs to find anything with that striker pump. He's looking in the backside of the zone. He knows someone's here. He's looking for the shot, but the build comes through. It's not enough. He will go down, and so Mirza stays a foot in this one. He's trying to rain on anybody's parade he can, but Neko and Dan up above. They look so comfy, even with low materials. They remain the only duo with a chance at really having a fighting say in who will win this game. But now it's time to drop down. They realize it's time to take that engagement. It's gonna be difficult. Mirza, really low HP. He's getting in the way. Melody as well now on low ground. Will try find any bit. Kefi and Melody versus Neko and Dan. It's up to this.
No mats on the top side. It'll come down to one final push. Armored wall's not up for grabs. Destiny's in the air, but only one team can grab it. Naku about to reach out his hand, denied by a few builds on the left side. They're unsure on where to go. It might just be straight down. The edits are there too. It could go any which way. Naku and Dead have to land this shot or they will not qualify for the finals today. There it is. It's a drop down reversal. Dan's there. Where's the last player? Siphon comes in. It's gonna be them actually maybe even taking over high ground. No, Melody's running way away. Does he have the time to go for the heal game? Med missed his popping. Dan still has crucial seconds, but takes some free damage. He's running 30, 25, 20, 15, down to nothing on the mist. What is he looking for? Is he going for the all-in? Is it possible? Dan's in the lead. Melody down to 1 HP, and it will be Dan. That qualifies. A misstep of calculation. Dan's huge retake is enough to give his team a ticket to the finals.
The med misplay wasn't enough for Melody. He thought he had it in the bag, but he ran out, and Dan did enough to stay in this game.
Might be a possibility for that 6th place to come in for Melody overall. He will still be there. Dan was also top 6. He got that window overall. That was huge in game number 5. Dan and Naku, what a performance from them to get that victory royale and sign off all the way towards the top.
And like you said, the last game winner had a spot in the top 6, so that spot will be going to someone else. And if you want to find out who that will be, we're going to have to kick it to the desk. Zeke, Reese, Sundown, please, what happened? Who's qualified?
Don't you even worry, Levin. We got you guys covered. Also, shout out to you both. Levin, Shyway, you guys were fantastic today. Thank you for casting those 5 games. It was super awesome. High energy. And again, we're going to come back tomorrow for another 6. I'm looking forward to it. But we got to take a look at who did qualify. Dan, Naku, and I'm so sorry if I'm saying it wrong. I don't do words well, but they were in 6th place going into this game. Now with the Victory Royale, that means they're removed from that top 6, and now someone else is looking to occupy that spot. We'll get there in just a second, but first we gotta talk about this game. My goodness, Sundown, this is what I live for, right? These are the nail biters that always happen in the final game of the competition. It always happens this way. This is why I'm a broken record about it. But Fortnite, it's never done until that last game.
Yeah, and you can see there, particularly towards the end, the 2 duos who were fighting it out were inside that top 6, and whether or not they had that information, they were still holding on and wanting to get the Victory Royale, while every other player needed the Victory Royale to end up going through. But the question is, with 2 of our top 6 ending up fighting out for the Victory Royale, and 1 taking it, that leaves that last spot up for grabs, and it's going to pull up that final qualifying score just that much lower, actually, in that circumstance, as we get some of the highlights here from Karma and Booba as well. Had an amazing game last game, and they will end up finishing in that qualifying range.
Not just last game, both games, right? We saw Booback in the previous game hitting those shots, hitting, quite frankly, incredible shots to clutch them up into that deep into the end game. Again, this time we saw Booback go down to the fall damage, unfortunately, after kind of picking up this first elimination here, leaving Karma as a slow. This is a qualifying run that we're watching right here from both of these players, pushing them up into the top 6. And unfortunately, this is the moment for them, unfortunately, let's say, where Nico and Dan were able to take that high ground from them, or take the, well, start the high ground retake, let's just say, as knocking down Booback there, leaving Karma left as a solo, inevitably winning Nico and Dan the match.
I know, man. It comes down again to the wire, right? Those final moments. In every game, these things unfold, right? And it's being able as a duo to identify that chaos and look past that and find that moment of calm and say, that is our avenue. That is how we make it to the win. And for Dan and Naku, they do that, right? It's so incredible. Another qualifying team who does make it on through in that top 6. Remember, it's been an all-out battle, okay, today going on. It's whoever gets the victory after 5 games moves on. Your top 6 at the end will move on. Mirza, Lizen, and again, I'm so sorry if I'm saying your names wrong, but look at this, the run that they needed, right? They were, if you look at that bottom left, from 7 to 5, it just ticked over. So now the question becomes, Sundown, when we do jump on over, will they have qualified? Because remember now, even now, look, back up the top 5. That's how close it comes down to.
Yeah, and particularly here, Mirza able to pick up the 6 eliminations, run it out a little bit, hit the shot there right at the end, push them over. I mean, every single one of those elims is plus an additional 3 points, and the fact that he's able to really run it out and make that big of a difference. I mean, that was 27 points on eliminations alone, and they were able to just kind of sneak their way right into one of those final spots.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of poetic because for this team, like in that first qualifier, man, off spawn was absolutely rough for them. They managed to turn it around and make sure they called through. Here, though, are the 5 game winners that we've seen. Not the top 6 on the leaderboard yet, but this is the first half of the teams that qualified. Game number 1, Frax, obviously alongside Coop, Milad and Wooks in 2, Aqua and Noah Rayleigh. No surprise to anyone at all in game number 3. 4 went to Blue Sea and Hydro. And then game number 5, Nako and Dan. A first-time FNCS Finals performance for both of the 2 players, the both Spanish team actually all the way through. And this is what it's going to be. Top 6 qualify. So Karma and Bubak, with that last game, clutched up to push themselves through. So did Lazen and Mirza with that beautiful right-hand peek from the tree side that we saw. Finally, Refsguard and Scram in 4th have managed to make it as well with 131 points. That last game not being too good for them, but doesn't even matter at this point.
Okay.
Not at all. Same with Kefi and Melody, Kiko and Mosh, and our winners, Tazian and Shmeki, who've been causing a lot of havoc throughout the entire FNCS in Camp Cuddle. Now, it seems like they're going to be there in finals as well.